What's up, guys? What's going on this week? Anything exciting?
Foster? Same old, same old. We got all that snow to deal with.
Yeah, yeah. Little bit of snow, bunch of freaking cold, some frozen pipes, cleaning up from the house fire, all the good stuff in life. Cars breaking down. We all know
Yeah,
about this stuff.
all of it.
So, you guys, because everybody, Shorty and PJ should be here soon. Shorty, we don't know
Yeah.
when he's going to be here, but he'll be here probably. And he posted this show as could Josh McDaniels be the answer? My answer is no. But
Oh, wait.
he's got
Oh,
I was just gonna say he's got a bunch of these bullet points where it's like, well, he's had 10 or 12 seasons where he had, or 12 times he's had a top 10 offense. I think we discussed that. Most of that was Tom Brady. Um, we don't have to worry about him ever leaving for a head coach because nobody will want him as a head coach. He had a list of more points, and I'm not sure what they are, but my answer to Josh McDaniels is a solid no, thank you, please. I'll take one of these one of these other 8 or 9 guys that we've already interviewed. There's probably going to be a few more. So I don't know what. Would you guys got anything to say about Josh McDaniels?
I don't. I mean, I'm in Denver where I've seen Josh McDaniels up close and personal, where he traded away a franchise quarterback in exchange for I'm not sure what. And I mean, if that wasn't enough to tell you the kind of guy that he is, I think the whole debacle that went down in Oakland is enough because, I mean, these are two separate incidences, what, a decade apart, a decade plus apart.
Yeah.
And he appears to have not learned anything at all. Granted, sure, that was as a head coach, not an offensive coordinator. But as an OC, what has he done without Tom Brady? It's nothing. So
That's
true.
the answer. No. You got anything, Walt?
I do want to hear Dan's point of view on Josh McDaniels. I think it's a waste of time, but we'll hear from him when he gets here.
I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't post that topic for no reason. He's clearly got some reasoning behind it. Whether it's sound or not is entirely a different debate. But
absolutely. Let me run over to welcome everybody in the chat, man. Doug Van Dorn, Mark Kazak, good old Cliff Victoria, Jason UK Bear stopped in here, Bearski Films, Mr. Mayhem 69 in the huddle, Chicago, CB Sickles, that's our producer, Walt Besky. Who else we got here? J2K, Leo Factor, Plankster's in the house. Demond Dice. Hey, Demond. King Pookie Nation. I think I got everybody. I know you said you got a couple comments in there too, Steve.
Of course I do.
Myself, but we're here. We're here. Thanks for being here tonight, guys. James Ford. Thanks for popping in. We're talking offensive coordinators here at this point. I think the other thing too is Zib, did you said you took some laxatives, so you're not all as hyped up as you were a week ago, or
no, yeah, there's a lot of shit backed up over this season, as I'm sure a lot of Bears fans deal with. But a little laxatives, a little chocolate flavored good stuff. It eases it right through. You'll get over it real quick. Hopefully. I tell you, at this point in time, I'm less pissed off about the Bears and more pissed off about the Packers and the Lions actually winning. Although I'm not sure what I expected with the Packers. They played probably the biggest pretenders in the entire playoffs, but it is what it is. I guess we'll see what happens this week. Perhaps we'll get to enjoy our favorite tradition this week, which is the 49ers knocking the Packers out of the playoffs.
I'd be grateful for that one, man. I actually had the Lions and the Packers both winning their games, man. So
see, and that's why I don't do sports betting. I know that you guys have a sponsor here on this show with BetUS, but I personally, I bet too much with my heart. I don't use my head enough. As much as my brain says, the Cowboys are pretenders. They can't actually win this. They're a bunch of jokesters, this, that, and the other thing. My heart says the Packers are a fluke. They're not actually going to win this thing. And I mean, look at them side by side. They were clearly the better team going into the game. They were clearly more prepared during the game, and they came out of it on top. It is what it is. As far as the Lions go, I think that was a complete fluke. I think they deserved to lose that game. I think the only reason they didn't lose that game is because of some questionable officiating towards the end of the game, which seems to happen quite a bit in the playoffs, especially in recent memory. But we do what we do. I do have some questions for you guys, actually, as long as we're talking playoffs. I wanted to ask you guys, what do y'all think of this 7-team playoff setup that we've got now? It's been 4 years of it. We've had quite a significant sample size through this first round. Are you guys enjoying it? Do you feel like it's lopsided? Like,
what do you say, Foster?
I do enjoy it. I like having more teams involved. The only thing that's been maybe the downfall is look at some of the games. They're not the competition level or the quality of the games is. You're getting some blowouts, you're getting some mismatches. But then again, man, just look at last week. Texans beating Cleveland.
Yep.
I didn't think that was going to happen. I know a lot of people did, but I
yeah, I mean, there were some upsets for sure. Yeah, and they were still blowouts is the thing.
Yeah, it's just I enjoy watching it, man, because it's the last sport left out there that everybody can watch it most of the time. They're trying to get rid of that, but I'm for it. I think they could even add another playoff team, and they probably will. So I just the season though has gotten so long. Like I still think they could have added another playoff team and still kept it at 16 games because the thing is, it all comes down to money. I think, matter of fact, I know the Bears were the only franchise out of all of them that voted to keep it to 16 games. The only one was the McCaskies. So the competition's good. I mean, it's solid enough. It's entertaining most of the time. There's a couple games. Seems like the Thursday games, man, during the regular season, where there's a lot of those games that were just
bad.
Yeah.
Just guys showing up because they had to be there.
Yeah, but that's okay because that one's all about greed. So I hope Amazon gets screwed because it's all about taking more from the fan, which they do every year. They just keep taking more and more from the fan, which absolutely drives me nuts because you're going to have kids in a generation or two that they don't follow football because their parents couldn't afford to pay for them to watch it. So they're going to take all these people, and it's going to end up being like a third of this country because we've got 80 million people living below the poverty line. So these kids are not going to have an idea because they're not going to sit there and listen to the radio. If they can't watch it on TV, they're not going to follow the sport. I won't say it'll happen to every one of them, but I see it happening. My kids weren't that into football growing up because I just or not even football. I'm sorry, baseball. My son started in baseball and he got out of it because they had already pulled all the teams from the regular viewers. You couldn't watch the Sox or the Bulls or the Cubs. We had to pay $90 a month, and I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, when they put it all on cable, it made it a big deal. And now all of a sudden we're kind of seeing a shift because it's become more affordable than any of the other sports to watch. Yep. Game by game basis, at least.
For now. I don't know how we got on this because we were talking about the added 7 games, and I started.
Man, I don't know how you get on half of your topics, but you always manage to end up there. So,
it's
well, how about
insanity.
Yeah, see, Foster just gets on a rant and he just goes. 7 teams are fine. I think it's interesting. I probably wouldn't put any more in there because, like you said, Foster, it starts to dumb down the competition level a little bit.
I was just curious because personally I hate it. Starting with the first season that it happened and the Bears were that 7th seed, they had no business being in the playoffs that year. And ever since then, I feel like, there's at least one of those teams every year. And unfortunately, the NFC East exists. So there's going to be one there no matter what. But regardless, I broke down some numbers on it all. And I wanted to present them, see if anything seemed surprising, see if it seemed about on par for what you would expect or however you may feel about it. But in our 4 seasons since this 17 playoff has been a thing, the margins of victory have been through the roof, right? We've seen this season is actually an all-time high for total points in margin of victory. But I mean, when you add extra games, that's bound to happen. But when you average them out across the games, right, we have an average margin of victory of nearly 13 points. Every single one of these games is a 2-touchdown game effectively. And that's just, at an arm's length, just looking at all this. Now, when you look at the previous 4 seasons before that, right? Just as an example of a sample size, because it's still considered modern era of football. They're the 4 most recent seasons before we added it. I thought it was a fair sample size. The average margin of victory is only about 9 points. Now, granted, it's still a 2-possession game. A 9-point game to me is a whole lot more interesting than a 2-touchdown game. It feels like some stuff can happen. This is where the Music City Miracle happens, things like that. In addition to that, this week, we only had 1 game decided by 1 possession. 1 game was decided by 1 possession. The last time we had 1 or fewer games decided by 1 possession was 2016. So this is the biggest blowout we've seen in the first round as a whole in the last 8 years, which is just bonkers to me. So these teams are getting more and more one-sided. I think we can already see that when we start looking at the standings and we start looking at how teams are drafting and being built and spending money. It definitely feels like there's teams at the top and then there's like a handful of teams that are close and everybody else is kind of at the bottom. But when you see these numbers presented in front of you, it's just like, man, this is not an evenly matched product. My argument through all of this is that the 7-team playoff format is worse for the NFL. No, excuse me. It's worse for football, but good for the NFL because viewership is at an all-time high. 23 million people watched that game on Peacock. All these people who said, I'm not going to watch that game on Peacock, guess how many fewer views it had than the previous game on Saturday?
No idea.
It had 2 million fewer viewers. Do you think the NFL gives a shit about 2 million viewers? Because in the grand scheme of things, that's a drop in the bucket to them.
Not when they're getting a couple bucks from those 23 million, because it's even if it's $1, they're getting $23 million from Peacock, man. I'm just guessing. I don't even know what
it's just crazy to me, and it makes me wonder where the balance is. Because I don't know. I think we all agree that we enjoy playoff football. Just like NHL fans would agree, they love playoff hockey. Playoff hockey is totally different from the regular season. Just like playoff football is totally different from the regular season. Yeah. It's not quite a different game in the same sense of hockey, but the atmosphere is so different that people live for it. And what's the point in doing it if your team's going to get blown out anyway?
All right, well, real quick, here's why Peacock did it. They got paid $100 million for that one game. So that explains it all. I have Peacock. Yep. I didn't watch it. I didn't even listen to that game. I just kind of ignored it, which is surprising for me because I'm a football junkie. But I stuck to my guns on that one because I told everybody, I said, I got it. I'm not watching.
Yeah, see, I did want to ask you about that, Foster, because I heard you say that on Steve's show when you were doing it on the Green Bay game. I mean, you already have it. You're already paying for it. So what's the difference at this point? You're not giving them any extra money.
No.
You've already gave them the money.
It's the point of actually I'm lying because I don't have it. I have access to it and I didn't watch it. So I don't pay for it.
So somebody paid for it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's all right. So
Peacock
gets there at $5.99 a month.
They didn't get my TV as a viewership. That's one less. I don't know. That's my whole point is
Okay.
It's specifically about the point, because all they're doing, and I've said this too, is they're just conditioning everybody to the day when it comes where you're paying for every game, because that's what they're going to do. Oh, you want to see the Super Bowl? Yeah, no problem. That's a pay-per-view event. You get one per household, and it's $500 for the game. That's what
Super Bowl streaming on Paramount Plus this year, and it's still on whatever network they're putting it on.
I get it. I get it, but it's
that'd be CBS.
That's because they have the contract with the networks. When that contract expires, what's going to happen? I mean, I don't know, but all the money they're getting from other sources, and then they raise the ticket prices and everything every year. It's just, how much can you suck out of the fans? Just like the government sucks out of taxpayers, dude. How much can we get out of them before enough's enough? And as long as we keep doing it, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm absolutely wrong. But look at the other sports, what they've done. For my entire life, I could turn on Channel 9 and watch the Cubs. I could turn on 32 and catch a Sox game. When I was a little kid, I could watch Hawks games on Channel 9 too. Home Hawks games. It's all gone, man. You can't do that anymore. You're paying. If you want to see the Bulls, you're paying. You want to see the Hawks, you're paying. You want to see the Sox, you're paying. So it aggravates me, because it's just taking more and more advantage of the fans.
I mean, if you're paying for
We've
cable,
already
at the end
got
of the day,
billionaires and millionaires who won't give in a dime. None of them will give in a dime. They're just going to keep passing the buck to us.
I'll be honest with you, Foster. It doesn't really bother me that they're streaming it. Like I said, I already have Peacock, and I have these other streaming services, so I'm going to watch it anyways.
But you're thinking only of yourself, dude.
In the middle of a conversation.
Yeah, because I'm the only person that can be affected by this.
Who can't watch it because they can't. Like when my kids were growing up, it was $75-$80. I'm like, sorry guys, that's got to go to groceries. That's why they're not involved in any of the sports, because they could never watch any of them except for the Cubs. He's the only one.
The thing is, if you're saying the getting kids involved, I mean, yes, but most of these regular season games are on local networks like Fox. This was a test of a playoff market just to see what would happen. So at the end of the day, if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. That's a completely different matter. So I'm not going to be like, oh, well, they shouldn't have done this. Like, oh, well, it doesn't bother. Like I said, you said, I think I'm only on myself. Yeah, because is it going to affect me? So I'm going to think about myself. I don't worry about anyone else. They have their own priorities.
Well, that's what a selfish bastard does, Walt. I'm joking, dude.
Go ahead if you want, man.
Don't take it literal, dude.
No, I'm not taking it literally. I'm just saying. Like, end of the day, like, I can only have access over what affects me. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm just one of those guys. Everything should be available to everybody, and it's not. It's just not.
First off, thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Who is that?
About you?
Who the hell is that, by the way? I don't even recognize that guy.
That's Clark Kent.
That's
this is what somebody said it in chat. Was it Leo who said that? I remind him of what's his name for Plank said, or somebody said I remind him of so and so from Breaking Bad. But this is work environment, Dan. I got a watch on my arm, I've got a button-up shirt. So
I don't like
the business world makes you conform. Yeah, it does. Guys, Foster, Walt, Zim, thanks for joining us tonight. Like, how are you guys? I'm sorry that I'm late. And everyone in chat, love you guys. Appreciate you for joining us tonight. I apologize for being late. What's up, Peach?
Don't apologize. We know.
What's happening, fellas?
We know you were cooking, Matt, dude. Don't worry about it.
I apologize for being late. So, had a basketball game, and I had to get some stuff situated for a college visit for my grandson. So, my apologies.
Priorities.
Hey, this is just a podcast, man. Life gets in the way. You take care of life, and then you come onto your own podcast late, like I just did. So.
I thought PJ was going to college so that he could play on the Bears eventually. I was going to say, dude, you're way too old for that. Way too old.
Hopefully my grandson take up that mantle for me.
For me, it's like so great to talk to you guys and to get into some Bears, talk with you guys, just to take away from some of. I hate when that screen pops in and out. What can we do about that? I hate, it's nice to be. All right, here we go. Is it this one? I'll put myself here. How about that? Oop, right here. All right, I can be here.
It takes forever.
So, it's great to talk to you guys and kind of get out of the world that I'm in, because like this company that I'm working for anyone that doesn't know, is literally like it's the kind of company I can't even talk about online. Like, let's put it that way. So it's big time. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot going on in my head, and just to decompress right now and talk with you guys and talk some Bears. This is what I've been looking forward to all week. So thanks for everyone joining us. Thank all you guys for being here, and thank you, Zim, for joining us tonight.
Of course.
Some secret squirrels type stuff.
We're going to go back and start this over, guys, because I kind of said a couple things, but could Josh McDaniels be the answer? Dan?
Yes, this here. Let me go on. Hold on. I'm trying to.
I see you, Peach. I was trying to give it an opening.
Can I just acknowledge the guys in the chat real quick?
Please do, my friend, while I try to figure out these windows.
Okay, Mark Kazak.
I did half of them, Peach.
Plank, Cliff Victoria, Mark Kazak, Raging Oracle, Charles Johnson, J2K, Jeremy,
PZ,
Bob Halika, Doug Van Dorn, Hair Bear, Bearsky Films, Ravi Come Up, did I say Raging Oracle already? Yeah. PZ, Jay Sanders,
Hair Bear,
Gumpy Bear 2000
Grumpy Bear 00.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to say, kids to connect. Thank you guys for joining us. Truly appreciate it. Again, my apologies for being late. And Zim, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
Of course. I'm always here, man.
Zim, we love you, man. We wanted to get all you guys together again, but it just didn't work out that way. So we had to have you on individually. But love the conversation that we had with you last time. And can't wait to get into this with you. And thank you for leading me up to that, Foster, because and I saw somebody say here in chat, like, hell no, about Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator. And just hear me out here for a second, please. Just hear me out.
Whoever said that, I'm with you.
Well, hear me out.
Okay? That's five of us, BJ. Go ahead, Dan.
Listen,
you have 1 minute.
Josh McDaniels. Oh, the timer started right now. It's exactly 9:00. Josh McDaniels failed miserably as a head coach everywhere that he has gone. He's been fired in his second season, midway on both teams he was hired. He also bailed out of the Colts job after he hired Matt Eberflus to become the defensive coordinator, and then Frank Reich retained him. Okay, so now please just venture down the road with me here, guys. Everyone just hear me out here in chat. Everyone on the panel here. Josh McDaniels has had a top 10 offense 12 times in his career for the Patriots. That might not be correct. I don't think he had a top 12 off or top 10 offense with the Broncos or the Raiders, right? Because he wouldn't have been fired. So it has to be with the Patriots, right? So now you take into account these two things. He hired Matt Eberflus to become the head coach of Indy. Then he bailed on him like an ass, And,
well, that's not true.
Let me finish.
That's not true.
Wait, what's not true?
The GM actually hired Eberflus, and then he had a verbal agreement with Josh McDaniel, nothing written down. And then when Chris Ballard asked him, so are you in or out? And he was like, basically, and he said, well, you're out. And that's when he went with Frank Reich. So he actually didn't hire Eberflus.
Okay.
The GM did. But go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for the correction, PJ. So either way, they were about to have a working relationship. They had to have some, there has to be something there between the two of them. So now he's failed miserably as a head coach, but what he has done well is as offensive coordinator. He's had 10 or 12 top 10 offenses as an offensive coordinator for the Patriots. So he's the kind of guy that's like, I saw somebody in here saying something about a Clint Kubiak, which Clint Kubiak, to me, it's almost like we're a dick hair too short in hiring him to be our head coach, because that guy's going to be a head coach in a couple of years. Grumpy Bear, $5 super chat. I'm going to interrupt myself. Thank you, Grumpy Bear.
Please.
Matt Jones in his rookie year under McDaniels, 3,801 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and 10 wins. Thank you, Grumpy Bear, for adding to my point. Thank you,
Mr. Shorty. With all due respect, that is better than any argument you could have made. Is that stat line with Mac Jones right there?
Yes, exactly. And the point that I'm trying to get at was I would love to have a Clint Kubiak as offensive coordinator, but I don't want to get in this position where we're like recycling head coaches every couple of years. If a Clint Kubiak, if he succeeded here, which we all thought like Getsy would be gone after a couple of years for a head coaching job, and he did not succeed, but he came technically from the Mike McCarthy coaching tree, not even from the Matt LaFleur coaching tree. He was retained by Matt LaFleur. So throw that out the window right there. Clint Kubiak has been in this system for a hot minute. His dad, look. When you have a father as a head coach, we all know how that works. So the genes pass on to their children and stuff. So that guy is going to be a head coach. And if it was the head coach of the Bears, that would be great. But that's not going to happen. So I don't want to lose an offensive coordinator in a couple of years if he succeeds with either Justin or Caleb. And then we're in this repetitive cycle of trying to find a new OC. Josh McDaniels.
Take a breath.
With his feelings. Thank you. I had to rush to dinner with
I understand.
I had to rush back. I'm still in my work clothes.
Oosha.
Josh McDaniels he's not going to go anywhere, guys. If they hired him to be offensive coordinator, he's already failed miserably at head coaching. He's not going anywhere. He's the guy for me that if you wanted to project a long-term future for this team with Matt Eberflus as the head coach, which I don't necessarily agree with, but that's what it is. So let's try to find the solution to a long-term coaching tenure. Let's build a team, kind of like I just became a part of this week with my new job. Let's build a team that we are all going to work together towards in the future to make this team better, over the course of time.
Had to get a little plug in there.
Yeah, so you add Josh McDaniels. He decides we're gonna whatever it is, Caleb or Justin, and if he succeeds, which he could very well succeed because he has a proven track record with 12 seasons of 10 plus 12 seasons of a top 10 offense. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm not saying that I guess I kind of am. I'm not pounding the table for him, but I don't want to hire a guy that could potentially he's looking to become a head coach. I'd rather hire a guy who's going to stick around because he knows that they're building a winning organization together and they're going to win championships. And I think Josh McDaniels could be that guy.
Anybody else want to rebut that?
I do want to pose the question about this year's team with Josh McDaniels. I mean, he was the offensive play caller in Vegas, was he not? And we also have him there.
He was, yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah, he did some stuff in New England, but he also had Bill Belichick running checks and balances on him too.
Bingo.
But he also beat the Bears
for most of those years. And then they brought up the stat line, which to me is your best argument, Mac Jones' stat line.
Yeah.
If Fields stays healthy this year, he's probably got the same damn numbers, dude. With Getsy as his coordinator.
Let me say this. As far as McDaniels himself, I think he has proven not to be reliable.
As a head coach.
No, as a person. So if you agree to become a head coach and then you back out of that, that's as a person. Now, the position was for head coach, but that's as a person. And to Foster's point, outside of Tom Brady, has he had really success with other quarterbacks? Yes, that 1 year with Mac Jones, I'll give you that, but that's okay, iffy. But when he was calling the plays in Denver as well as Oakland or Las Vegas, he didn't have any quarterback with great number. Even he made what's the wide receiver name? Adams, is it? He made him look mediocre. So I'm not high on him for one. That's one point. The second point I want to make is when it comes to Kubiak, nobody's going to be pounding the table for Kubiak. He was a offensive passing game coordinator.
Passing game coordinator right now for the Niners.
Right. No one's pounding the table for those guys. If he was an offensive coordinator, I'll give you a point. But passing game coordinator
was an offensive coordinator for the Vikings.
Well, what I'm saying is for this if he has success in his next year, I would say he would have a minimum of 2 years before someone's pounding the table for him. I'm more of a Waldron guy myself. In my dream scenario, Waldron's offensive coordinator, quarterback coach is Kubiak, and running back coach is the guy we interviewed from Carolina. All from the same tree. We all on the same page. Let's go. So I think with Waldron, yeah, you might have a point that he may be one and done. But if you have a good enough quarterback coach in Kubiak, then he can move up. So you can keep that same system going on. That's my argument.
Well, can I piggyback off of what you were saying? The first part to that was: do you think that McDaniels succeeded with the Patriots because of Tom Brady, or do you think that he had any part to do with Tom Brady's offense being successful?
Well, if you remember when Tom Brady first started, he had White. What's the guy's name? Went to Kansas. Weiss, I think. Weiss was his offensive coordinator. Then Josh came along, so Josh grew up in that system. Once he grew up in that system, so the system was already in place by Weiss. He followed that system, tweaked it a little bit, made it his own, had some success with it, then was able to go to Denver with it. Didn't work there because Tom Brady wasn't there, and plus Tim Tebow was there. Came back.
Whoa. He brought Tim Tebow there. He had Jay Cutler there.
Agreed.
He had Jay Cutler there, who was coming off a 4,500-yard season.
Agreed. You are absolutely correct, sir. And that shows his decision making right there. He'd rather get rid of Cutler and go with Tebow. He got rid of Carr and went with Mariota. What's his guy? He got there in Vegas now. He got rid of Carr to get that guy. So
he got
that's what I'm saying.
Garoppolo.
Yeah. So he be making some iffy at best decision making. So I think the chemistry with him would be way off. Just my personal opinion. I just think it'd be way off.
I just wouldn't want any of these guys that come from New England that are just proved. It's proven that they just ruin organizations if they get control of anything.
That's 100% true. But they ruin organizations as head coaches, though, not as coordinators.
No. What did the Eagles just do last week?
Wait, preach it, Zim. What are you saying?
What did the Eagles just do last week? What did they do the second half of the season? Weren't they 10-1 with Sean Desai as their defensive coordinator? And then they decided to switch it to who? Who was it? It was Matt Patricia. Matt Patricia.
Gosh.
They switched defensive play calling to Matt Patricia all of a sudden halfway through the season. And what did they do with Matt Patricia at the helm? Oh, that's right. They went 1-7. They took a 10-win team to a 1-win team by simply switching to Matt Patricia.
Why, Zim? Why did they do that? Because is that kind of like the Ron Rivera thing with the Bears in 200006, where they were like,
I have no idea.
Here's what
they were unhappy with the defense.
I'm going to go check. I'll be right back.
The defense in Philly was playing a base defense, not getting pressure later in the season. So they brought Matt Patricia in as the assistant or co-defensive coordinator with Sean Desai. And when he took over calling the plays, it's supposed to be in conglomeration with Desai, but it certainly didn't look like Matt Desai's defense.
It was not.
Hey, Zim.
Matt Desai's defense is kind of, you got 4 rushers. That's how you play it. It's consistent, steady. But they were having problems as time went on, and they thought they could spice it up and maybe pick this defense up a little better, bringing in Matt Patricia. And, well, you just said it, Zim. We all saw what the hell happened since like November, man. They sucked.
Only thing I got to say, Zim, if you got that microphone handy, after you made that statement there, just drop it and just walk off, bro. I'm telling you.
I'm not going to drop this one, but I think I got a spare down here.
I'm telling you, man. That says it all right there.
You know what? I'm just going to start lining these things up as the show goes on. I got more.
He'll be dropping mics, and PJ will be looking for his lost weapons.
I'm just saying. Hey, you never know.
We do got a $5 chat from Grumpy Bear 00. And Grumpy Bear says, what impressed me about McDaniels, he called all run plays against the Jets when the weather was real bad. Not one pass and won the game. Mac Jones QB.
Well,
I don't know if that's impressive or.
We've seen that with both Fields and Trubisky. That's just a sign of a guy who doesn't know how to run an offense.
Yeah, there we go, Dan. Dan, you look better already, dude.
Am I fitting in?
Watch off.
Take the watch off. Yeah, that's way too.
So formal.
By the way, I have to brag right now. My cousin made me this watch from scratch. It's a wind up. Look at that thing.
Wow, I get it. Yeah, go ahead and brag. Your family loves you.
There's nothing better than not having to put a battery in your damn watch. No, I didn't know. My cousin made this for me. This isn't an expensive watch, other than it's priceless to me for that reason. But
no, man. I mean, it's an extremely heartwarming and thoughtful gift. I think it's really messed up that you would go brag that your family loves you when some of us
Yeah, I mean, Zach Sullivan making your clocks. Now you got your cousin making your watches. Jeez, man. What's next?
It's the freaking big shot over there.
This is how much I love you guys. I can have him make you one. How about that? Oh, everyone's silent.
That sounds like exploitation right there.
Yeah,
that sounds like signing him up for something that I don't.
No, it's he loves to do it. So Zim, and this proves that I love you. So there are people that love you, Zim.
Well, I know that. I'm married. I have kids. Like by default. Like
that doesn't mean they
have to. They have to.
I want to know what you guys think about. Like, I spoke my piece about, and I see that Grumpy Bear is kind of agreeing with me on the Josh McDaniels thing. I'd like to know who you guys in chat, and leave the comments if you're listening to this show in aftermath. Put in the comments. I want to know what all you guys think of. Who was your choice for offensive coordinator? And because I'm last on the panel right now, I'm going to start with you, Zim. And I want to know, give me a good reason why the guy that you want for the next OC.
Shorty, why don't we just pull up the OCs real quick? There you go.
Yeah, quick list: Shane Waldron, Clint Kubiak, Greg Olson, not the tight end, the quarterback's coach from Seattle, Liam Cohen, Greg Roman, Zach Robinson, Thomas Brown, Marcus Brady, and Cliff Kingsbury are the current list of guys they've either interviewed or requested to interview. I'm going to be completely frank with you guys and tell you I don't put a whole lot of research into a lot of these guys before the hire is made. Personally, I have a busy life. I have a lot of things going on. I do the same thing with the draft. I don't pay attention to draft prospects until May 1st when they're already on the team. And it's so much useless knowledge filling my brain, taking up space that I can use for other things. I guess you could call me a casual if you want in that sense, because I'm not 22 with nothing but free time to absorb draft prospects and head coaching candidates anymore.
Filthy casuals.
I'm with you, buddy. I know.
But I will say, off of the limited amount of base knowledge I have on these guys, just in a 10,000 foot view, Cliff Kingsbury is interesting to me. I'm curious to see if he could bring his system to the NFL in a productive way, because he tried to do it once and it didn't really work out. And it was a pretty easy thing to defend once teams figured it out. He had about 8 to 10 games in the NFL where it was a really solid system. People seemed, like it was, or fans rather seemed like it was something different, something refreshing. And then we all remembered, oh yeah, that's why they run this in college and not the NFL, because drop cover 3, drop cover 4, send an extra blitzer, boom, done, game over. So that's why he's interesting to me, because I want to see if he learns, if he adapts, if he changes. I don't really want that experiment to be on the Bears, though.
And also to piggyback on that, do you think that the double duties of being the head coach of an NFL team might have caused him to slack on those duties as OC, and therefore he wasn't using his brain to the full potential for that position, because he was running the entire team as well? Because that's something to be said for when you have
I do think that's fair.
Now you're talking about McDaniels again, right, Shorty?
No, I'm saying true. You can add Josh McDaniels to that list too, because once you start adding that second duty to Josh McDaniels, it's like it might be too much for him, and he clearly has a complex that if he's the head coach, it might be like the complex might be too much. But if he's now back put in this place, and by the way, if Bill Belichick, let's just say, goes to the Cowboys, because the owner didn't sound very, I forget his name, lack of.
They already said Mike McCarthy's coming back, so.
Okay, good. Okay, so
that.
I was just
second
thinking,
interview in Atlanta.
Belichick's
I was thinking he would
going for
follow
his
Bill.
second interview in Atlanta. That was announced today too.
Who did?
Second interview in Atlanta, Bill.
Oh,
Bill
Bill.
Belichick's got a second.
But either way, I
interview
think
for
that
the
wherever
Cowboys.
Bill goes, he could potentially take Josh McDaniels with him too, obviously. So, but would Josh want to work with a Justin Fields over a unnamed?
I'd rather not he choose.
Ask it the other way around. Would Fields want to work with Josh McDaniels?
Well,
That's how I'd ask it.
I'll put it like this.
Fields is
If
my
Josh
quarterback.
McDaniel wants to work with Fields, that's a red flag for me.
Okay.
He's out.
So we'll get to you. You're last, PJ.
Dang.
Foster, I want to hear your take now on what do you want to say? Oh, are you finished, Zim? Is that you? Actually, you're not, because you said Cliff Kingsbury is interesting to you, but out of this list, who stands out the most to you?
The guy I want in the end is Clint Kubiak. I'll just sum it up. I could go on about a number of these guys, because several of them have been offensive coordinators before, so I do have that base knowledge about them already. However, Clint Kubiak's the one who stands out to me. He took a Minnesota offense and they averaged something stupid like 38 points a game, if my memory serves me right, when he was there. The reason they didn't win wasn't because of his offense. It was because of their piss poor defense, and Minnesota's just been a shit show for years. They continue to be with that awful GM hire that they made. This is just my opinion as a Bears fan, but Clint Kubiak, I think, has already displayed that he's an NFL caliber offensive coordinator. I think he's going to be a hot name this hiring cycle. I do think there's a potential that he gets hired elsewhere, but I also think that there's an equally high chance that he ends up as the Bears head coach if he becomes the offensive coordinator of the Bears, because of the things that we've already seen that have kind of made us question if Matt Eberflus should still be there or not.
You're talking about a team that's not Bears smart, though. You're talking about a team that would use their brain and do that. And of course, we're under the Kevin Warren regime now, and we're hoping with all of our might that that's actually his regime. And we know what we all keep saying, Cole's got this shit. So that would require all of that to keep in place, that they would actually be that smart. So I don't have that confidence in this team, because they've never shown it. And that they would actually have to show that confidence by going, listen, you're fired, Flus. We're going to promote you to offense or to head coach. We're not going to let you get out the door and become the next head coach of become the next Mike Shanahan. So
yeah,
Kyle Shanahan.
I think it's a fair point, but I also think we're already seeing some changing of the guard with the Bears in that regard. when was the last time the Bears had no coordinators and a head coach already instilled and it wasn't a fresh hire? You know, we're seeing something different here, as strange as it is, as much as a lot of us don't have faith in it. We're seeing something that's a little refreshing, something we haven't seen before, something that has all of us on January 18th talking about the Chicago Bears in a positive way, in a questioning way, when realistically the only thing we should be saying about this team right now is screw these guys. They completely gave up the last half of the season. All they had to do was win out, and they were in control of their own destiny, and they lost 2 games, one of them to the freaking Packers, in a way that you absolutely could not lose. And yet instead we're sitting here talking about who's going to be their offensive coordinator. Because they addressed the problem.
4,159 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, Zim, out of Jordan Love.
Look, we'll talk about Jordan Love. Trust me, I got plenty to say about all that. We'll talk about it after we're done with the offensive coordinator conversation.
Okay, yes,
so if you just want to hit the fast forward button, let's go through.
I'm jacked up because I'm so excited to talk to you guys and not be. Engineering has been my world for the last 4 days, and it's nice to unwind and talk Bears with you guys. So I apologize I'm a little energetic because I'm excited to talk to you guys. So please finish.
Look, that's about all I got to say here. I hope you love the hell out of engineering and never have to work with an architect again in your life. And that's the end of what I have to say.
That's not that. I'm going to be working with every one of them.
I know. I'm so sorry.
That's 35s now, dude.
Why don't we do this? Why? Because it looks good. It's not structurally sound. I don't give a damn. It looks good.
Oh man!
Who?
You're talking engineers. I used to build houses, right? I used to build spec homes. I changed the blueprints every freaking day on every house I ever built in my life.
Back in 1845.
If I print out the wrong print, I have to shred that. That's the environment that I'm in. There's only certain people that can get into my room with their key fob.
Leave us out.
It's insane. I would have never.
Can I go now? What was the question?
Yeah, finish, because it's still Zim's.
No, I'm done. I'm done. Move along, please.
Who's your guy, Foster?
Who's my guy? So Josh McDaniels is not my guy.
Surprise!
Who's my?
Wait, hold up, hang on. I have more to add.
Oh man.
Oh, sorry. I'm kidding, Foster. Go ahead.
Who's my guy? So my question is, and Poles knows this, and maybe Eberflus. Poles and Eberflus probably know this. But who's the freaking quarterback? Because if we're drafting Caleb Williams, I'm probably leaning toward Cliff Kingsbury. Not that I want to do that, because people in the chat are saying Justin's gone, Justin's not gone. So anybody in the chat who's 100% sure of what they're saying about Justin or Caleb, please tell me, because I need to know that. That's going to help me make my decision. And I think Poles is really smart because he brought in all these guys. There's 31 other GMs going, wait a minute, what is this guy doing? Because he's brought in all these guys that can work within the system. Then he's got a couple guys that can't. One of them in particular is very familiar with Caleb Williams, Cliff Kingsbury. Zim, you hit it on the head. He could potentially be the next head coach. If we're going to draft Caleb, I'm leaning towards Cliff Kingsbury as the offensive coordinator. I also mentioned this earlier. I mean, he's interviewing all these guys. I just got a feeling that a couple of these guys are going to land here, and I think somebody mentioned that even in the chat, because I'm going Shane Waldron. Somebody said, "Oh, Geno Smith sat and he had all this time to do all this stuff." Well, that's fine. You can sit all you want. You can be a good quarterback or not, even sitting, just like playing. So that doesn't determine that factor wholeheartedly. Shane Waldron has done a great job with that offense in Seattle. Look at Geno Smith's numbers. Like I said, somebody said he sat for 4 seasons. Well, you could sit for 3 or 4 seasons. Look at Love. Played great. But that does not guarantee that you're going to learn everything and be come out this effective. You've still got to have somebody around you calling the right plays. So that's a big check mark for Shane especially if we're keeping Justin.
Yeah, well,
it could work either way. And then my dark horse in this is Clint Kubiak. Football's in their blood, man. His father was a hell of a quarterback, awesome coordinator. Even his two brothers, the three sons are all involved in the NFL right now. One of them's in a front office position. Another one's an NFL scout. And then we know what Clint is the passing game coordinator. I'm also interested in Greg Roman. I saw what he did. With Lamar over the years. That guy progressed. I mean, everybody's bitching about Justin, man. Could you imagine if Justin Fields was running for 1,000 yards and throwing for 155 a game like Lamar was a few years back? So I could see them doing something saying, okay, I don't know. We have to talk to these guys, but I'm just going to throw something goofy out there. I'm just going to kind of make this scenario up is what if you brought in Clint Kubiak as your co-offensive coordinator, quote, / passing game coordinator, and Greg Roman as your co-offensive coordinator / more of the run side of the game. They could work together. And I'm like I said, this is just something off of my head, man, because I love what Poles is doing here. He's covering all the angles. I always tell you guys, give me as many options as possible. Give me a ton of information. I'm going to make the better decision for my team. So jumping out, doing this right away, he's getting tons of information. He's getting lots of input. That's going to help him in the long run. But the big question is, who's the quarterback going to be? Because I believe that's going to more so determine who the offensive coordinator is. But he's placed it in a way to where it looks like any one of these guys could be coaching either one of these quarterbacks. And tell me if you guys disagree with that.
I don't.
I'm not sure. I think that's the kicker within what he's doing is he's got all these different variables. I think only two of these guys are running a different system than the rest of them and what we're running now. I think 6 or 7 of these guys are very familiar with our system.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the terminology, but it's the same concept of it. So there's multiple ways to go, and I'm going to have faith in Poles to do it. I'd rather keep Justin Fields and take the haul. But if Poles knows what he wants, and Eberflus involved, because they're got to be working together, and Warren's got to be in on this too. I think Warren for a little bit here is giving Poles insight, but they're kind of letting Poles go with his plan for the team since he was here before Warren. And that had already been discussed with McCaskey and anybody in the building that, needed to know what the Poles idea here was of building a team. And he told us again and again. So no matter what, any Bears fans, I'll stand behind him because he's going to build this team through the draft. Does that answer the Caleb Williams question? I don't know. You guys tell me.
Well, I don't know if it does. But just to from this list that's here, if I'm just to quickly, obviously I've been talking about Josh McDaniels, but that's not going to happen. Like he's going to follow. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm totally sold on him. I'm looking at all the variables and I of all the guys, I would like to have a coach that's going to be here for a while and build something and like the Patriots did, where they had just a solid coaching staff for years on years. And if I was going to look at this list, I would say Clint Kubiak. If we were keeping Justin Fields, but going to what Zim said, if Flus fails, we make him head coach, kind of a thing. And Greg Roman. If we're keeping Fields, I would like Greg Roman. If we're trading Fields, I would like a Clint Kubiak as well, because if we do draft Caleb Williams, assuming he doesn't, all that shit, smoke and screens. What I meant, Mark, is that teams could there's no insider info. Nobody's leaking shit from their own teams. So it's the crap we're hearing all over the internet about Caleb Williams not wanting to be a Bear is just bullshit, because it could be the Redskins leaking insider info so that they get the upper hand, so that the Bears do not. Fake account. Anyway, so keeping Fields, I would like to go with Greg Roman or Clint Kubiak, and trading fields, I'd like to go with a Clint Kubiak. Go ahead. Are you done, Foster?
I had one more very important thing to say, and I can't remember what the hell it was, dude, because it ties into the narrative.
Well, you can interrupt Walt like I just interrupted you. So go ahead, Walt. Because PJ is sitting here like, just let me talk, man.
PJ's just fuming, formulating
that's why.
everything. He's gonna wait
PJ,
for us
you're
all
gonna-
to
you're gonna
finish and
have
then
the
say,
last-
"You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong," and this is why.
You have been saved the best for last, PJ. So just sit there and write down some notes in case you forget some things, and then give it to us. Walt, go ahead.
Okay. I got to start with just congratulating the Bears on the way they're handling the offensive coordinator situation. You can see there's an obvious type that they want to go with in terms of their coordinators, because most of those guys on their list, outside of Cliff Kingsbury and Greg Roman, all run a very similar offense to either a Shanahan or a McVay, West Coast style offense, which is fine. And that's why I think guys like Greg Roman and Cliff Kingsbury are just outliers. They're brought in for merely fact-finding information, and that's about it. I don't know if they're actually realistically going to be considered for this position. So I'm going to throw those two guys out immediately. Because if we were really more so looking at a Caleb Williams, you might see more than just a Cliff Kingsbury brought in. So there's that. In terms of number one, I'm tossing. It's a toss between Kubiak and Shane Waldron. I might go with Shane Waldron just because you can possibly also get Greg Olson as your quarterback coach, and they seem to have a very good working relationship out of Seattle. So there's that. But on the same token, Kubiak also has been learning this game since he was a little kid, and that's also going to pay dividends too. So either way you go there, I think you're going to be sitting pretty. Some of these other guys, like Liam Cohen, I think he got dealt a bad hand in the Rams in 2022. Half that team got hurt. Stafford went down. So I don't really know.
I absolutely think Cohen's a sleeper pick there.
Yeah, he's definitely a sleeper pick to me. Guys like Thomas Brown and Zach Robinson, I think and Marcus Brady too. I think they're good positional coaches. I don't know if they're really a fit here. So they're on bottom tier on my list. But definitely top two, they just happen to be 1 and 2 on this list. It wasn't. I didn't think about doing that. I just kind of grabbed it off. Somebody else had it up online, so there's that. But those are my guys in terms of offensive coordinators. And Bearsky, I wanted to let you know I do have your video, and once PJ does his thing, I'll play it there, and we'll move on to another subject.
Oh, Walt, by the way, great job on the graphic too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Always.
PJ, it is your turn, my man. You have the stage. Come on, lay it on us. Let me get my notepad out.
I got a couple of questions before I get started. Can you guys inform me who Zach Robinson is, as well as Marcus Brady? I have no idea who those guys are.
Marcus is Tom's brother, and Zach is Alan's brother.
Zach Robinson is the quarterback coach from the Rams, Los Angeles Rams, in 2023.
Okay.
Marcus Brady did have some relationship with Matt Eberflus, I believe. He was the senior assistant for Philadelphia Eagles this year. He's got about 15 years of experience. I think he was.
That's Marcus Brady, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe he was offensive coordinator for quarterbacks coach, Indianapolis in 19 and 20, then 20 and 22 was offensive coordinator.
Well, it's obvious.
Zim must have taken a leak because he would be all over this, I'm sure.
It's obvious that the direction that we're trying to go, we want to get that McVay / Shanahan tree, more so McVay's tree, is what it seems to be to me. So to Walt's point, the outliers being Cliff Kingsbury as well as Greg Roman. The problem with Cliff Kingsbury's offense, to me, it's a one read run pass option. I think teams has figured it out to what Zim was saying. They figured out that offense, and that's where the guy for Arizona, Kyler, he didn't do as well after teams figured it out, and then Cliff lost his job. As far as Greg Roman is great with running offenses. I think Fields is already beyond that. Now, Fields was a rookie, and you're trying to break him in, have a run heavy offense, great. But he's beyond that now, so he needs to have more of a passing game. So, my choices, like I said, Shane Waldron is my number one. Um, I love the way he has worked with Gino, and I think that's the same thing that we can do with Fields, build him along that way. Clint to me, Kubiak. Yes, he did well in Minnesota. Um, what surprising me about Clint is he didn't stick around, because when they brought in the new head coach, being Kevin O'Donnell, he came from that same tree, but they didn't keep him there, which I find kind of, is there some type of friction going on, that, something behind the scene that's making me wonder? Because if he's coming from that same system, so then when you replace the head coach and he didn't stick around, that's kind of concerning. Then he went to go be a passing game coordinator, which is, I think we can say the rankings is offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, then probably passing game coordinator. So for him to be that far down the line when he was an offensive coordinator in Minnesota, you bring in a head coach who runs that same offense and he doesn't stick around. And so it makes me, what type of, is it really a personality, or is it a conflict in actually scheme running? As far as Greg Olson, Greg Olson, I think him and Shane has been working together. They've done pretty well. I personally was not impressed with Greg Olson's offenses in the time that I've seen him in the different places he was at. It's nothing that really stood out to me. So I would rather have, in my dream scenario, like I said, Shane to be the offensive coordinator, to where if he does really well, our quarterback coach being Clint Kubiak, because I think that would be a promotion from where he's at now. So if Shane gets hired away, we have Clint to step up. So those are my top two. As far as Liam Cohen, he's a hot name. I've been hearing that name. I don't know how well Kentucky did, because I don't follow Kentucky football. I heard he did well when they had the quarterback
Will
in
Levis.
Titans now. What's his
Yeah,
name?
he made Will Levis look good. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, he did well there. So he's a hot name, but I don't know too much about him. And obviously, like I told you guys, I don't know much about Zach Robinson or Marcus Brady. But Thomas Brown, I heard rumblings yesterday. I think it was either Swifty or someone that said that Thomas Brown had friction with Frank Wright. And I don't know how you have friction with the head coach and your offensive coordinator. You're the head coach, there's no friction. So, some type of way they had friction of some sort, which I find to be odd. So to sum it up, my guys are Shane as the offensive coordinator. Hopefully we can get Clint as a quarterback coach. If not, I guess I'll go with Greg, but I'm not impressed with that. To Zim's point earlier, I think what we are doing is putting defensive coordinators in place that can become the head coach. So if Eberflus, for whatever reason, fails, you can then just move up Shane or the offensive coordinator. I think you're going to see an experienced defensive coordinator come in here as well, to where, again, if you fire Eberflus because he's failing, you can fire him and that defensive coordinator just take over the play calling. So I think there's a system in play here to where they like, hey, we're going to make sure all our ducks are in a row, to where we got everything covered. I think that's the angle they're working.
I wanted to add to that, because now I remember what I was going to throw in on my comments, guys. And what it was this. because everybody's, again, like, remember last year, Getsy's going to be here 1 or 2 years, and then he's gone again. We need a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
What a joke that was. So,
joke.
right. Well, but what I want to get at is,
right?
this is why Poles is going through this part of the reason he's going through this process. Not only to start off with, its deception, because he's got 31 other GMs going, wait, which way is he going? Because they don't know. And it's a good bluff. It's the way you do it.
Yep,
I also
it's a big
believe,
mislead.
Absolutely, and that's what you want to do at this point of the game. It is lying season. The other thing is this: he's looking to put into play where we don't have this problem. But where, I've already got the Lions, and I don't remember, Dom was talking about this. The next guy who's going to be the offensive coordinator is already on the Lions. He's already on the team, or so I'm told, because of Johnson possibly being gone. So I believe Poles is trying to put this in the same perspective, whether it's the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator. He might have 2 guys in line for Eberflus's job before Eberflus is out the door. It's called being ready, being prepared, the old Boy Scout model, man.
Well,
That's what he does a lot of it. Go ahead.
That's how successful organizations have ran. I mean, because you keep the same system in place. You just have the next guy come up to run that system, as long as he's averse to it. That's why you don't want to go totally opposite. You don't want to go from a Shanahan to a Greg Roman. Totally different opposites. It's hard to do that.
Sort of like how, even though you might have a good quarterback and he's winning games and making the playoffs for you, you still draft one in the first round and then develop him behind the guy that's winning you these games, so that when he's gone, you can just put him in place. And look at that, the Green Bay Packers just did it for a 3rd time.
But you do that toward the end of their career,
right?
Not the beginning of their career.
Correct.
Exactly. You do it at the end. You do it the same way. The NFL is all about development. It's all about building that roster, building that depth. If there's one thing that I've never understood. It's all these guys that play Madden or play NCAA football, whatever video game that they play. They all seem to understand, hey, I've got this 99 overall quarterback, right? But he's in year 12, and I don't feel like allocating, $40 million of my salary cap to this guy. So I'm going to draft a quarterback, even though, it's like you get it. But then the moment the logic applies to your favorite team, whether it be a coach, whether it be a quarterback, whether it be a free safety, whether it be a damn punter, none of these guys seem to apply the logic to the team that's in front of them. And I think that's what's really something that we're starting to understand as Bear fans when it comes to this offensive coordinator situation, when it comes to this quarterback situation, that it's like, how do we develop long-term success? Because clearly we're not going to be able to achieve short-term success with the approaches that we've tried.
And we've never seen it. We've never seen
that's
it
what
the next guy coming out of the tree.
And that's what I love about this conversation.
Yes. And this is why it was so important for me, for the Bears just to put their nutsack on the fucking dining room table and go after Jim Harbaugh.
Okay, enough of that.
Man, if you don't stop with that Harbaugh.
Look,
on,
I said something earlier today that I'm going to stand by. You know what role Jim Harbaugh would have been perfect for in this organization? Quarterbacks coach. I never would have wanted him as a head coach, but you bring him in to work one-on-one with Justin Fields on a day-to-day basis. My God, imagine the leaps he would have taken.
Here's why I disagree, because he is the Chicago media is, I would say it's worse than the New York media, because at least the New York media, they have at least the Yankees, they have like a perennial winner somewhere in their like city, and not to mention, they are still as tough on their Giants, but they've had quarterbacks, they've won Super Bowls, out of nowhere. Like the Bears media, it's also driven by our fan base and the 75 million Bears podcasts that there are out there compared to the 5 Giants podcasts. It's weird. Everything combined adds up to all these years of going, Why are not the Bears, who are the fucking patriarchs of the patriarchs of the NFL, perennial goddamn losers? Like we're like in this like revolving door of just mediocrity or worse for so long, watching teams like the Packers who are just developing quarterbacks. So even let's just say this, guys, let's draft Caleb Williams and keep Justin Fields. And let's sit Caleb Williams for 2 years while we give Justin Fields the 50 because we have the money to do it. We'll do the year option. We'll get a new.
Makes no sense.
This is just an option. I'm just throwing it out there. Let me finish. Bring in a head coach. He develops Justin Fields. Justin Fields becomes good. Like he becomes great, right? Like where you can trade him for a first-round pick, and then boom, you insert Caleb Williams. And then now you begin that trajectory of like letting your quarterback sit and learn behind somebody else who was, Justin Fields can teach a Caleb Williams in 2 years' time.
Get a real center first.
Let me take my time and just dismantle that whole argument, because you've been hinting around that for a few weeks now. So let me put it to you like this.
I've been what? Say that again. I coughed.
You've been hinting around to that scenario for a few weeks. So
only because they I would rather that they have either kept Getsy or fired both.
I understand all that.
Since they didn't do that, you're starting all over again. Like you might as well start over at quarterback.
As long as this doesn't go into the last week's hour rant with the same crap.
No. I'm going to try to do this in less than 5 minutes.
I wasn't here last week. I want to rant for an hour.
Please do. Like I put myself through an AI machine. And I went, what would the AI machine
had to listen.
Well,
shut up, Shorty, and go ahead, PJ. You're on the clock.
If you put this scenario through an AI machine, the AI machine would say,
Okay. Hey, there you go, PJ. You can talk now.
So here's the thing. It's like, if we're going to have Justin, we can't draft another quarterback in the first round. We can't. I mean, you don't pass up on those possible assets.
Not in year 4.
Man, well, that's the other one. But if you're going to keep Justin, you got a chance to get multiple draft picks for that number 1 overall.
But if you keep Justin and draft a quarterback and have him sit for 2 years, and then
you let me
hold up. I want to ask everybody a question before we continue. What's the biggest weakness on this roster? Nobody said quarterback immediately. Nobody said quarterback. I gave you all 3 seconds, and nobody said quarterback. You don't draft Caleb Williams.
Well, see,
you would draft Caleb Williams?
Okay, but listen, if you traded Justin Fields now, let's say you drafted Caleb Williams and then traded Justin Fields, what would you get? Like two seconds or a second and whatever? If you drafted Caleb and he sat behind Justin, and then the new coordinator developed Justin, but also Caleb Williams is just as good or better, and they have that rookie contract, they could potentially trade Justin for more picks than they would have got him for trading him now, because he's here. You go. You got the developed quarterback. Yeah, it's a little bit awkward, and it's not like the Packers, because they, like you said, they trade away their older quarterbacks that have developed the younger guys, but they've already fucked everything up. So if at least you can like reset the clock that much and try to get it right and be an organization for once, maybe that could be the key. And I'm not saying this is just I like to pontificate. I'm putting up the question for you guys.
Dick, can I ask you just one question? You've been saying the word pontificate for months on end.
Get out of here, Walt.
It's because he's got a show with Dave.
Does he actually know what the word means?
I do. I don't need you to be a lawyer and give me the dictionary definition. Look, it doesn't mean what I'm actually saying, but it's I like to use the word.
But if it's used incorrectly, then
so get out of here.
You just got.
Yes,
you
I
gotta
know.
have the-
Pontificate
you gotta
doesn't
have
mean
the
to like.
assets around a quarterback to develop a quarterback, and we don't have that.
So go ahead. I'm done ranting. Whoever wants to take over what I was saying from there, please go ahead.
We kind of hijacked PJ there, so I want him to finish,
Yeah,
and then I do want to
yeah.
bring something up real quick regarding this subject. So go ahead, PJ.
The short answer, I would say that you don't want to waste your draft picks on a person who's going to be sitting, and you can never get a higher draft capital than you could right now. So if you trade number one, you never get you won't get, let's say, Caleb 2 years from now, you want to trade him or Justin, you're not going to get as much as you're going to get for this number one right now. That's a short version of it. So I'll let you guys have it.
I'm for a haul because you could. I worked out a couple scenarios trading from 1 to 4, and still having Caleb Williams available at 4. Also, MHJ available at 4. I've taken Jaden Daniels at quarterback, JJ McCarthy at quarterback, and still got in the haul. I ended up the other day trading from 1 to 3 and 3 to 8, and had 3 first-round picks for next year because it is possible. It is possible if the draft is dropped right. I know it's crazy, but you got to build assets, man. We don't have a complete team. If we had a complete team, man,
you're not a quarterback away. If you're a quarterback away, you make that move, but you're not a quarterback away.
Thank you.
It's a unique position. And the reason it's such a unique position is because you don't need the guy that's consensus, or that the consensus says is the number 1 overall pick. That's what makes this position unique. It's not because you have this legitimate debate over which guy's better, because excuse me, go watch Justin Fields' college tape right now. Go watch Justin Fields' college tape and tell me that's not a.
I sat down and I woke up one morning on a Saturday and I said, honey, sit down, watch this tape of Caleb Williams. She goes, okay. And I want your honest opinion, because she knows nothing about any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to pretend that she does. She likes to fan up with me, but she doesn't. I mean, it was 5 years ago I was teaching her what down at distance was. So,
I get it. My wife refers to Justin Fields as her boyfriend. I get it.
I got it. So she was like, yes, I see, because she's analytically looking at the same things. She's going, yes, I'm noticing he does this. He gets the ball comes out of his hand. So I said, let's go look at Justin Fields in college, because we can't really compare him to the NFL. So let's go to college. So we looked at college side by side tape, and she already knows what he looks like in the NFL, and she's already heard all, anything that I've had good or bad to say about him. So she watched them side by side, and she's like, yes, I can see that Caleb Williams does this and this and this and this better as a quarterback, just with my own eyes. And I said, thank you.
Personally, I don't see it. I mean, and again, I don't get paid millions of dollars. I'm not here to scout quarterbacks. I'm not here to pretend like I know more than anybody else. I'm here to be entertainment on a show that you guys host once a week. And I appreciate that opportunity. Yeah. When I look at
opinions are like assholes, we'll have them.
Quit coming in and making sense, would you? It's not allowed here, dude.
I look at Caleb Williams.
Make some change instead of sense. Come on.
He at least jumps off the page. Caleb Williams reminds me so much of Johnny Manziel in college. The way he runs around behind the line of scrimmage, bounces off of tacklers, hucks the ball downfield, and makes these miracle amazing throws. Now, maybe we're getting a
people say that before too.
Maybe we finally get to see what Johnny Manziel would have looked like had he actually watched more than 0.0 minutes of film. But
how injured is he going to be every year? Everybody's complaining about Fields' injury.
That's just it.
My thing is, Fields cause us to lose 10 games alone?
No.
Hell no.
I don't think he caused you to lose any games personally. But I personally feel, and again, this is just me, but I personally feel that if you take the majority of Bears fans and you put like a black blob over the quarterback, right? You don't show them who's actually playing. If you could somehow just get black silhouettes on a field and have them run the play, and you show Justin Fields tape and Jaden Daniels tape and JJ McCarthy and Caleb Williams and all these other guys that you've got available to you this year. I mean, you have 6 legitimate first-round quarterbacks this year. Excuse me.
Ewers could be the best quarterback in this draft, for all we know.
Well, and that's it. There's
I like
6
Peyton
legitimate
Daniels
first
myself.
rounders and probably 9 legitimate NFL caliber guys in this draft. And I still think that if you manage to black out all of them, make them silhouettes and show them Justin Fields tape, most Bears fans would be like, that's the guy the Bears should draft. That's the guy right there. He stands in the pocket. He makes on-time throws. He gets out of there when he needs to. He can run. He has a deep ball. He's accurate. I mean, when you look at the Justin Fields Ohio State film, he is exactly what I think most Bears fans would be looking for in a quarterback in this year's draft. So find an offensive coordinator that pairs with this guy, that brings out those highlights in him, that doesn't say, I need a 200-yard game 200 is the number to look for. 2 touchdowns, no turnovers, no whatever the hell they told him. That was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I want to hear a quarterback's coach, an offensive coordinator, a head coach go out there and say, win the fucking game. I don't care what it takes. You put this shit on your shoulders. You carry this team. You're the guy we brought here to do this. You wear number 1 for a reason. Go win it. That's what I want to hear. And it's frustrating to me that there's all this pontification about who the quarterback should be.
Yeah, I get it. It is to me too, because, you know, I started this channel because I thought Justin Fields was going to be a freaking MVP winner by now. I believed in him that much, and I'm not
I
saying
bought
like,
his jersey the day.
I don't believe in him now, but what I'm saying is, I'm looking at like I'm like I said, if you put this through an AI machine, the AI machine would tell you with all the analytics that it looked through, it would say do this, and I believe it would say draft a quarterback. Because you have to take into account the history of the Bears and you know,
what does that got to do with
I was
anything?
going to say, what does the history of the Bears have to do with anything in what we're talking about here? It doesn't
ownership.
matter anymore.
It does. It has everything to do with it.
I was going to bring this up earlier. With the firing of Chris Steins, we now this should tell you that these McCaskey boogeymen that you keep bringing up don't really have all this power that you think they do.
The firing of Cliff Stein. Wait, did you just say the firing of Cliff Stein?
Yeah, Cliff firing, removal. He was let go.
Wait. First off, when did that happen?
The other day.
2 days ago.
Over the weekend.
About the show you were watching it on, man. That was the
show. Greg Gabriel threw a whole fit about it, man.
Yeah.
Well, I've been out of the world for the last week. Whole week.
You were watching the show. That's what I'm saying, and it was on the title. So I mean, maybe you missed it.
You were on the show, dude.
You asked your McDaniels question.
You were in the chat for that show.
No, I was literally at work in a protected building that I'm not supposed to even really be on my phone on, but I was on a break, and I just like looked. I was looking at the channel, and I saw that Greg Gabriel was live.
You better hope none of us run into your bosses, man.
I know.
And then I said, no, I was in a secure area that I could use my phone. So I was
Only thing we're saying is,
you saw what I said. I only have 30 seconds, but I just want to say whatever I said about Josh McDaniels. I didn't have the volume.
Fired.
Okay, so you're telling me that's a good thing?
Yes.
No. What he's
That's
saying
a terrible thing. They fired Cliff Stein?
No. What he's saying is the fact that things are changing at Hallis Hall. And that's an example of that is them firing Cliff Stein. Now, I'm not going to get into the debate of whether or not it's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's the point Walt was making.
Yeah, okay. I'm not debating the legitimacy of the removal. It's just that the fact that it happened.
Right.
But Zim was saying that him being fired like showed a sign of progress, and I disagree. Like
that's exactly
Cliff
what I just
Stein
said.
Was like the guy that he got everything done for the last how many years?
Well, you go in sidebar here. That's a sidebar.
One holdout.
That's a sidebar. Cliff Stein is a sidebar.
That's a different show. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not looking to bring it up. All I'm saying is that Kevin Warren made that decision.
Yes.
And said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing here, and get on board or get out." So,
yeah,
it definitely
wasn't.
It wasn't
a George McCaskey call.
Right. That's what the point is.
And there's
So-
some people out there that would think
Now my
that,
brain's going a million different directions. Like, okay, what the
Right.
hell does that mean?
Well, let's just get off it because it doesn't matter. It's just like it's the whole thing. I'm saying that changes are happening for the better. That's the whole purpose of it.
We could
Yeah,
But I'm
do,
not questioning the better with getting rid of Cliff Stein, though.
But
so are a lot of people.
what you was talking about
That's a
is
guy
the
I would
history
promote, not
of the
fire.
Bears. That's what you was talking about, the history of the Bears. And what Walt is saying is the history is changing. That's the point. That's the point of that topic right there. Because you can't say what the Bears history not having a good quarterback or blah blah blah, whatever that is. Bottom line is, I think if you want to develop a quarterback, which we all want to start happening, you don't get rid of a quarterback in Fields who has shown progress, and it has been shown that seemed like everybody disliked or didn't like the way he was running the offense. Get a competent play caller, you develop Fields, and then you can start going from there. You don't sit up there and get rid of Fields and then go get Caleb, and then you're hoping to develop this guy who makes spectacular off-platform plays. But I've seen film where he's just like Justin at times. He'll make that three-step drop, guy wide open. He doesn't hit him right away. He'll run around a little bit. Then he'll make this spectacular play. If the issue with Fields is not hitting the ball, throwing the ball as soon as he hit that last drop on the steps, work on that. Those are the things you need to improve on. You don't correct that by bringing in another guy who does the same thing. Because Greg Gabriel in his show even made mention that a guy told him, he said, the problem with Fields is he's slow with his dropbacks, be it under center or in the shotgun. He's slow with it. You have him speed that up, throw the ball on time, and it fixes everything. So again, let's work on that before we start trying to bring in another quarterback and try to fix him when we ain't even fixed the one we got because we got other holes. Because guess what? We still going to have an offensive line problem if we go get Caleb Williams. We're going to have a lack of wide receiver problem if we go get Caleb Williams. We're going to have a defensive problem if we go get Caleb Williams. So getting Caleb Williams is not going to solve the problems we have. Only thing I'm saying, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I'm not saying that at all. But if you have an opportunity to fix multiple problems on your team right now, that's what you do. Fix these problems. Because to Zim's point, none of us mentioned that our top problem is the quarterback.
Oh,
just pontificating using the wrong word. How about devil's advocate? Draft Caleb and have him sit behind Justin for a year.
Why? Are you not fixing how are you fixing your problems? Tell me, please, for the love of God, please tell me, how are we fixing our problems if we draft Caleb and had him sit behind Justin? How are we fixing the problem?
I love it. I love setting up the questions and just watching you get all irritated by it.
Well, before we go off on here, I do want to bring in Bearski's comments because I think he's on the same subject too, and I do want to hear what he has to say in this video. So I did download it. Give me 1 second to pull it up.
Yes, Bearski is one of our good friends and podcasting allies, and he makes great videos that we like to promote for his channel. So if you have it loaded up, please, anytime, let us know. We'll play that for him.
It might autoplay right here. Let me go ahead and put it in.
On Elmwood Park. What's up, Paul?
Man, this is just exhausting, guys. But look, let me put it like this. Mike McCarthy has recently been in the headlines as, he got so outcoached. What a terrible coach. One of the worst coaches to win the Super Bowl. But he did win a Super Bowl. Could it be that maybe, just maybe, Aaron Rodgers in his prime carried that thing a little bit? And by the way, he didn't have a great offensive line. He was the most sacked quarterback that year. We literally have Bill Belichick as one of the greatest coaches of all time. And the second Tom Brady leaves, you're telling me he just falls apart? He forgot how to coach all of a sudden? all of a sudden the Patriots are a bad organization. I mean, if Peyton Manning got hurt and the Colts struggled to win one game, and beyond that, like you're telling me Jim Irsay went from being a terrible owner to being a great owner while Peyton Manning was there, to then being a terrible owner once again. Like it's so tied to the quarterback. Now, listen, I've seen plenty of situations where a good or great quarterback has been able to overcome bad coaching, right? Now, there's a lot fewer situations where you have a great coach that's able to overcome a bad quarterback. And if you really want sustained success, you really need both of those. You need a good quarterback and a good coach, and you need talent on the team, and you need to get lucky to stay healthy throughout the year, too. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. But, man, it's not – like, the coaching is what takes you over the top, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of coaches can take, nothing and turn it into mediocre talent in this league. And it's once you get there that you really are limited by coaches. But it starts with the quarterback, guys. I mean, and if you really want to know the value, look at what they get paid. What do they pay coaches, and what do they pay quarterbacks?
Paul, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. Have a good one. Yeah, he's right. It comes down to quarterback.
No. First of all, Aaron Rodgers is one Jay Cutler knee injury away from never winning a Super Bowl. I don't ever want to hear that, he carried blah. Fuck
no,
you.
You're
Jay
wrong.
Cutler is the reason he won that Super Bowl.
Aaron Rodgers is one Bears win away from winning the Super Bowl.
Look, Caleb Haney.
His only Super Bowl was beating
Haney.
the fucking Bears.
Caleb Haney took the Bears to a 14-14 game against the Green Bay Packers in the fourth quarter of the NFC Championship game. Aaron Rodgers didn't carry him to shit. BJ Raji put that whole team on his fat ass and carried him into the Super Bowl.
Hey, PJ.
Now.
PJ, how many games did Steve Fuller win in 1985 for the Bears?
1985?
None.
Steve Fuller?
Didn't he win like
They lost
3?
one game that season, and it was the game he started.
No, he started more than one game. McMahon was not out just one game.
Oh, excuse me. He started a second game, was dog shit. McMahon came in halfway through that game, threw 2 touchdowns game. Immediately.
So who was the quarterback when they won 44-0 over Dallas? Steve Fuller. Go back and look at the 85 season, man.
All right. I'm sorry. It was 8 years before I was born. My facts are a little skewed.
I'm going to use the Houston Texans from last year to this year as an example. Hold on a second, Shorty.
He's 800 years old. He doesn't know.
Go back and look at what Houston did over the offseason and into this season. They changed the makeup of the entire team from the coaches on down. They got themselves a good quarterback. They got themselves 2 or 3 really good coaches and about 10 more players, because a lot of people are going, look at what Stroud's done with this team. It's all Stroud. I'm like, you better go back and look at that roster again. They drafted right. They picked up some good free agents. They changed the team in 1 year. Bears haven't been able to do that. We need to do that. And they did a lot of it through the draft. 2 drafts.
Well, I think the biggest issue, to Foster's point, is in coming up with a plan is you have to have patience as well. I think the players in that meeting with Poles and Eberflus told them that they had a problem with the way Getsy was calling plays. That's given all the pieces that I'm hearing here and there with the players' interviews. So they addressed that. They replaced that. Now they're getting a new offensive coordinator. So it now has to take patience. We all can agree that we need a second wide receiver to go along with DJ Moore. Get a second wide receiver to go with him. And if possible, if you can get a second tight end. So now you have some weapons for Fields. Then if you're able to get some protection, you build these things up around him, and then you can see truly what this guy can do and what the team can do. So maybe he's not a 4,000-yard passer, But if the team turns out to be a 14-3 team and we're winning,
You're right, Doug.
who cares if he's not a 4,000-yard passer?
Well, TJ, to your point, Lamar's not a 4,000-yard passer, and he's about to win his second MVP award.
Yep.
Exactly. And not only that, look at Troy. Look at Troy.
I got to throw this in, Steve, just so you know. Steve Fuller started 5 games and went 5-0 in 1985.
Wow.
All right, that was like 100 years ago, so it doesn't really matter anymore.
No, it does matter. It does matter because
First of
he's a
all,
no-name quarterback.
First of all,
it wasn't Steve Fuller winning the games. It was the team winning the games. That's
first of all,
to your point,
I'm pulling gray hairs out of my head and have not seen the 85 Bears in my lifetime. Like, think about how long ago that was. Second of all, I could have won 5 games on that team. That defense was insane. Mitchell Trubisky took this team to the playoffs because they had the best defense they'd ever had since the 85 Bears. All right, like
team game, and that's my point. I don't have a full team.
I do agree with you on that.
I keep telling everybody's like, we need 3 or 4 guys, and I'm like, no, man, we need 10 because our depth sucks. The minute Tevin, if somebody gets hurt, if Tevin or Sweat get hurt, we're done. We're done.
Well, Zim, I asked you.
Zim, I'm in the bathroom at the hotel taking a leak, and I was listening to you say, right. I'm pulling gray hairs out of my head, and I haven't even seen the 85 Bears. Like, I want to add to that, not to interrupt you guys, I apologize, because I'll stop after this, but I am fucking sick of hearing about the 85 Bears. We need a new team that takes that team over, and we're done talking about that team.
I'm
so glad
a newer quarterback. I had to bring it up just to prove my point.
I was this close to wearing my Walter
the quarterback
Payton jersey
winning the games, man. Not the quarterback winning all the games and losing all the games. Period. So now, I'm gonna fucking go cry in the corner, man. Because you guys piss me off. I'm coming to everyone's houses in the next 2 weeks and fixing your roofs.
You got us there.
Well, hey, Foster, I'm in a hotel.
I know exactly where it is. It's 45 minutes straight west of my house. I'll find you. All I gotta do is look for the truck with the fucked up top, right? Oh, you got a rental.
No, I got a rental. No, that truck's prepared. I hope you have a tall enough ladder and a lot of shingles, buddy. PJ, I wanted to, when I was taking that piss, what you were saying at the end of what you said before Zim, I forgot what you were saying. Oh, you're saying, you're talking about, trading those picks and all that.
You guys talking about the 85 Bears. You never remember what you were talking about 10 minutes ago. Yeah, this is the state of the Bears fan.
85 Bears, please. 85 Bears is what got me into the Bears when I was 10, when my parents have never watched sports ever before or since. Well, my mom, the Cubs and the Blackhawks. But that's it.
The whole reason you're sitting here today, buddy.
Exactly. So the whole reason Chris Watts got a GoFundMe account set up for him to come here and see 2 games. Now he's one of my best friends and our best friends, and I talk to him all the time.
People in the chat. People in the chat, thank you for bearing with us in our arguments. Thank you very much, people in the chat. I appreciate you.
I should have used Joe Flacco.
Well, listen, everyone
sitting on a couch one day and comes in and he's 4-1 or 5-1. Just sitting on the damn couch, stepped into a system.
And almost for a second there, I thought he could have still. I thought he was like, man, wouldn't it be crazy if they win a Super Bowl with Joe Flacco? Although the colors are red and purple, so it's going to be Niners and Ravens. But whatever.
Just I have a whole thing about Joe Flacco. We could talk about that.
Well, we'll
get into that in a second. But I want to
play in his career those 4 or 5 games with the Browns.
I did want to say to piggyback off of that, PJ, you guys in chat are fucking awesome, and we love you guys, man. And we're sorry that we're not interacting with you right now, because this is it's hard to do that when you're having heated with your an awesome discussion with your teammates here. So thank you guys. We appreciate you. We love you, and we're paying attention to you, and we're sorry not reacting to you as much as we normally would, but we'll get to that in a little bit. PJ, what you were saying about just the and my connection, I think, is crappy. You can hear me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So PJ, you
I
were
can hear
saying
you,
about
yes.
you were saying about the last thing you were saying before Zim was about the Bears getting a haul for that first pick and getting even another tight end to go with Kmet, a receiver for Fields. Like I totally can get behind that, and my whole theory behind the Bears just resetting with Williams has nothing to do with my lack of confidence in Fields. I just think that because this team like perennially fucks things up and so much, and you wouldn't know this, Zim, because you have gray hairs before the 80 or after the 85 Bears team. So like you've been living only a portion of this compared to, I mean, look at that guy in the middle. He's like 385 years old.
Witness the signing of the Constitution.
He shaved his whole thing on the show last week, and look at it's already back. So there's you get to a point where you start to, and also Walt, you're a youngster. PJ, you're just a homer, and you've said that from day one, and I love you for it. But you have to get to a point where you have to just go, listen, let's stop looking at this like a fan, and let's look at this analytically. Let's look at this analytically.
Shorty, you have literally been a fan of the Bears 15 years less than I have, at least 15 years less than I have. So you being a fan of the Bears less, I mean, because you're bringing up Walt's young age, you're bringing up Zim's young age. Well, let me bring up your young age compared to me and my family. I've been a Bears fan for forever. So I understand all of these frustrations. And in understanding these frustrations, my thing is we can't keep on trying to hit the reset button by getting a new quarterback because it's a shiny new toy.
No, we've never actually had to reset the button because of what you just said. We've reset the button because we fucked up an idiot coach.
Did we not have
They did it.
Did we not have the first quarterback picked in the draft with Trubisky? We picked him.
Come on, we all knew.
No. What I'm saying is we picked him. We tried to see how that worked. It didn't work.
It was a Bears pick. We all went, what?
But what I'm saying is we had staff in place who didn't know how to do it in the right way. Now we're finally getting a staff in place to do something with a quarterback we have. Built the team up to where, again, if Justin's the guy and we build this team up, we're in the Super Bowl. If we build up the team like San Francisco has done, we build up the team. If Justin's not the guy, we can get our own version of Brock Purdy. That's the point I keep trying to make. I do not want to pass up getting all these assets to build this team up for a player who reminds me of kind of the player we already have, but he's smaller. And he didn't win as much as Justin did when Justin was in college. Justin went to the national championship game.
Okay, so I you've got me. So now let me piggyback on that and say we trade that pick for a boatload of shit, and then at number 9 we draft Quinn Ewers if he's sitting there, and we put him on the bench for 2 years just in case.
Okay.
No why on God's green earth would I waste a number 9 overall pick on a quarterback?
Yeah, honestly, if that happens,
just quickly.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll finish when you're done.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, I have one thing to say, and that's if the Bears draft a quarterback at 9, but not at 1, the first thing I'm doing is driving Mr. Shorty to detox because something has happened.
I love you, Zim. Thanks for coming on tonight, man. You are awesome.
I mean, really,
detox.
Yeah. There's a dispensary a mile away. Go ahead.
Illinois Jones, you said I'm lost here. I mean, we're from the same city, bro. Show me some love, man. That's all I got to say.
You're from Peoria, bro. Is he from
So is
Peoria?
Illinois Jones.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
sorry.
Jersey
never
both.
mind.
Yeah,
Illinois Jones
Laz
Illinois
said that in
Jones was
particular.
fortunate, man. He got to see. He was saying in chat that he got to see the Bears in the '80s and the Bills in the '90s. That's a lot of winning games, man. If you take those 2 decades with those 2 teams.
Walt had a point that we didn't get to.
Okay, so if we were looking at this, from a complete view, I mean, Justin Fields is 24 years old. That's not that old. Right now, that's 1 year less than Jaden Daniels. If you're going to get a really young quarterback, you got to take him at 1 or 2 because Caleb Williams and Drake May are the youngest 2 quarterbacks, I believe, and they're probably not going to make it out of picks 1 and 2. So you have to make that move there. Now, let's just say we go ahead and take Caleb Williams, like you said, Dan, and sit him behind Justin Fields. You imagine the firestorm that the media is going to bring? You think it's bad now? I mean, we saw what happened with Tyson Bagent. The fan base went absolutely insane.
Man.
For weeks.
Whew.
This guy needs to stay a starter, blah, blah, blah. And he was
You got a microphone, Walt? Drop it, please. You got a microphone? Drop it on that one. Oh, my gosh.
Woo. And he was a Division II quarterback, undrafted. Imagine if taking a number 1 or number 2 overall pick and just sitting in behind Justin Fields. People would just go nuts from the get-go.
Justin Fields will throw an incomplete pass. And it's like, put in Caleb.
Yeah.
What?
It would be insane.
See,
I
only bring these up for the topic of discussion. It's not my personal comments not reflect the views of BCP.
I understand that. That's why I was bringing that up to be like, let's follow your logic point for a minute and see where it ends up. And
okay,
you're gonna run into that buzzsaw. Do you want to deal with it?
That would be awful. It would be the worst decision you could do as an organization would be to draft number 1 and do that with Justin Fields. It'd be terrible. But I was just trying to
the comment that you
if it's
the
possible
comment that was just brought up with Bearski saying what if Fields fails. I'll get to that in a minute. So I want to look at the age of my quarterback, and yes, bringing in another quarterback is always an option. It's an option, but it's option 6 of 5, pretty much, at least to me. Fields is still young. He's not that old. He can definitely still learn the game, fix his mistakes. Everybody can. So I'm not going to say like, oh, we can't do it. Or yes, we failed Fields to this point. Now we have a chance to turn it around. We're bringing in coaches. We're bringing in players to help not only build the team completely, but also help the quarterback that's already there. So, okay, Leonidas. I mean, I don't know what's going on the Delulu Island over there, but you can go stay there for all I care. Anywho.
Opinions are like assholes, man. We all have them.
I'm just saying he's entitled. If we didn't have them, I don't have to agree with it. So
yeah,
and everybody's trying to shove theirs in someone else's face.
And when you take a shit with that opinion, other people will smell it.
Okay, so I forget who. Now this is going to tie into Bearski here. We had a conversation
mark the time frame that I said that because I want to reuse that for something. What was that?
About 148.30.
$148.
Yeah. Yeah. So I watched one of Bearski's videos, and he was talking about options, and that was one of the options: bringing another either draft a quarterback or possibly bringing a veteran. So we were having a discussion on that, and. I'm looking at these quarterbacks and guys you can get. You can probably get a Jaden Daniels somewhere, middle of the first round. Of course you can. He's 23 years old, though. He's only a year behind Justin Fields. Just prosperity space. Probably more than that.
But I would rather not draft a quarterback then because I would rather put my faith into Bagent.
You interrupt him one more time, you're going on mute, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I know, I get that. Like I said, if the situation was different, and I brought this up to you, Bearski, later on, if the situation was different, if Justin Fields is 29, 30 years old, like Jared Goff, when they drafted Hendon Hooker in the second round last year, I would completely be for that. You always need to have that guy waiting in the wings. You kind of have that guy as a stopgap right now with Tyson Bagent. Me, I'm not a huge Tyson Bagent fan at all, and I've come on the show and said this multiple times. But he can definitely fill in if an injury happens. We've seen that. He can definitely do that. So I'm fine this year with taking everything I have, taking that number 1 pick, and moving it on to another team that's willing to pay up for a guy like Caleb Williams and then I'm going to take all those assets and I'm going to go 100% into Justin Fields. And there's something I brought up to Bearsky too, and he doesn't really like my analogy, but let's look at the film Karate Kid. All right, and Mr. Miyagi's talking to Ralph Macchio's character there, and he's saying, with karate, you can't walk the middle of the road. You can walk to the left side and you're safe. You can walk to the right side and be safe. You walk in the middle, you get squished like a grape. So if you end up keeping Justin Fields and you bring in this other quarterback at his age, whatever, Bearsky, you can hate it. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me at the end of the day, man. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. It's not that the movie you're getting hung up on the movie right here. It's the fact that you can't half-ass this decision. You can't be, well, I'm going to go one way or the other. No. At this point, either go Justin Fields or go Caleb Williams, Drake May, whoever your poison is of choice. But I'm going to go ahead and say that, I'm going to put all my eggs into Justin Fields, and I'm going to make that team the best way I can. The best team I can. So in case Justin Fields does fail with that trade, I can go ahead and pick another quarterback next year.
That's just it, right? We all talk about how this whole trade with the Panthers was the backup plan, right? If Justin Fields doesn't work out, well, you've got an extra first round pick, and it just so happens to be the number 1 overall pick. Well, that was never the intention. I don't think the intention was ever for Justin Fields to develop completely in a 1-year time span either. So I'm not envious of Ryan Poles at all. I'm so glad that we're 5 dudes sitting on a podcast with however many people watching rather than the guy who's got to actually make this decision. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day,
sorry, I thought you were done.
No, go ahead.
No, you're not saying you don't. You put all your eggs in basket with Justin Fields. You set the team back 10 years. If I'm bringing in more players to better the team, I'm not setting this team back 10 years. I'm sorry, that's stupid.
Well, here's the thing: you trade back from 1, and depending on where you trade back, if you set yourself up favorably, say the Patriots. I think the Patriots are a great position because you only trade back 2 spots, and they're not going to be very good next year, no matter what happens with that roster. However, the turnaround on that is, what do they really have to offer? What do they have to give you in a return package? It's not nearly as much as some other teams can give you, but you kind of get some insurance on the future. You trade back a few spots. You land one of those top offensive linemen. If you really want to get crazy with it, you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't think they do. I think that's too much of a luxury pick. I've been convinced on that part by people around me. I think that's just, the Bears are not in a position to go drafting a wide receiver at number 3. They have too many other needs.
Unless they can trade that pick and get down to 3 and draft him, right?
That's just it. If they can trade and then trade again. Yeah.
Yeah, like a trade for you. But hold on a second. That could be the key to unlock Justin Fields, though.
What? And that's just it. You've got to build the team around him.
He does.
But let me holler at Zim real quick. Zim, in Pole's interview, he said he sees Braxton Jones as a starting offensive lineman or starting tackle in this league.
He did not specify as a tackle. He did say as an offensive lineman, though. You're absolutely correct.
And he wouldn't be objecting to draft another offensive tackle as competition.
Why not draft Olu Fashanu?
Was it the question to him as an offensive tackle, though, not as a defensive lineman?
It was as an offensive tackle, but he said.
So he's answering the question.
I think he's got a place in this league. Is more.
So the point I'm making is, with going down to 3, I don't see Poles drafting a offensive tackle, because if you draft the same thing with, let me not use no analogies because people get sidetracked. So let me just stick to the point. So if you bring in a offensive tackle to compete with Braxton Jones at number 3, you're going to now have a mass confusion, and the fans in uproar. Oh, start this guy at who drafted number 3 as opposed.
Let me just say, if you're drafting an offensive tackle at number 3, he's not competing for shit.
No.
If you draft a guy that high, he's your left tackle.
Agreed. So that's what I'm pointing. So if he sees Braxton Jones as a starter, I don't see him drafting, offensive linemen. So
where is Tevin Jenkins better? Right guard or left guard?
Right guard.
Right guard. Right guard.
Right guard.
Okay. So we agree on that. What is the biggest position of need on the offensive line?
2 centers and 2 more guards.
Center and guard, the interior line, generally speaking, but center. Right. So you now can move Tevin Jenkins back to right guard without any issues. You then can move Braxton Jones to left guard without any issues. You haven't disrupted your line at all. All you've disrupted is Nate Davis, a guy who frankly did not show up for your team this year, regardless of his situation.
Let's be respectful. And when you lose your mother at a young age like that, that's not easy for anyone. So
I'm not saying he doesn't have his excuses. I'm not saying he doesn't have valid reasoning. I'm not saying that he should have been an amazing player. I'm simply saying in a what have you done for me lately business, like the NFL
business
is.
World. Yeah.
Like, I got to be completely honest with you. If I lost a family member and I didn't perform at my job, I'd probably expect some fallback on that when I came back to work. Obviously I'm going to take the time that I need.
I would expect the company that I would work for, even before this, this new job, that they would have some respect to that. And I think that's what the Bears have.
And I think the Bears have shown perfect tact with it. They've given him the job that he was paid to do when all was said and done. The bottom line is not whether or not they paid him to do the job.
Guard.
The bottom line is that he did not do as good of a job as he was paid to do.
Well, let me finish the point I was trying to make. So I'm saying if Bears drop down to number 3 because of Braxton Jones, because of Darnell Wright, I don't see them drafting a left tackle at number 3. What I see is them looking at, hey, we can get a true generational talent in Marvin Harrison to pair up with DJ Moore.
I love it. Personally, I love it. If I was the GM, I would do it, but I'm not the GM. And there's a reason I'm not the GM.
Right.
It's, probably because I'm 5'6" and have no football experience in my life. But, Well,
that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So when I look at it from that standpoint, that's what I'm saying. I think that you go after that generational talent in Marvin Harrison as opposed to a tackle who you have stated. Now, had Poles not made that statement, I'd be inclined to, okay, maybe that's possible. But he just made the statement after the season that I see Braxton Jones as a starter in this league. Yeah. So therefore, I'm not going to draft another tackle at 3, or if I move down there. Now, if he moves further down and Marvin's off the board, possibility. But I don't see that then. That's what I'm saying. So for me, if you're looking at what he can possibly do, I can see him moving off one, getting a haul, but not going too far because he's still trying to be in that conversation for that receiver that can pair up with DJ. That's where I'm at on that.
Yeah,
and honestly, this is
bring up J2K here because we've had it for a little while. He's talking about Isaiah Adams, left guard, Illinois. You can definitely find guard prospects
later,
middle of the draft.
And Ryan Poles
too, guys, and he's like 4th round, man. Isaiah, the guy from Illinois.
Exactly. Ryan Poles has effectively proven that he can find good offensive line talent late in the draft, just like he did with Braxton Jones, just like he did with Jatiri Carter, just like he did with, I forget this, Doug Kramer. That's who I was thinking of, the backup center. But he's shown he can find quality offensive line tackle late in the draft. He's shown he can find quality defensive line help late in the draft as well, like he did with Jervon Dexter, Zach Pickens, and
that's not really late though. That's second and third round.
Yeah, second.
Demarcus Robinson was my backup to that though. Which
that's where you gotta get him, though. That's where you're going to find him though, is in the 3rd and the 4th rounds. You're going to find your offensive line guys.
And that's the thing.
4th rounds. That's when they go. Unless they're exceptionally talented, and we have what we have, where you've got Fashanu and Alt, the 2 tackles, up near in the top 10.
If I can make
I was just going to say, sorry, son. I was just going to say, you see how it is every year. There's always a few of those offensive linemen that are taken in the first 5, 7 picks. We got right at 10. Sorry, Zim.
So I do quickly want to bring up a couple comments about the Fields Marvin Harrison Jr. situation. Leonidas bring this up. First says Fields will ruin Marvin Harrison Jr. And where's the other one? Basically saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. contingent, like Fields play contingent on that. I mean, did you see
what? Just like I'm ruining this beer. Nobody else can drink this beer because I'm enjoying it so much. The same way that.
But let's look at a guy. Let's look at the quarterback of Ohio State this year. That's Kyle McCord.
What was his name? Walt?
Kyle McCord. I think he's on Syracuse now, or wherever the hell he went in the transfer portal.
Not a good quarterback.
I mean, Kyle McCord is not Justin Fields, any way, shape, or form.
Not at all.
And then we saw how Marvin Harrison Jr. did this year with Kyle McCord.
Yep.
He did better than he did with C.J. Stroud. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You could put Marvin Harrison Jr. on the Panthers, and I think he would succeed. That guy's good.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really good interview if you guys can find it on ESPN. I found it when I was looking for some highlights to make a video for him. And they're having a conversation with Harrison and his dad. And his dad goes, or they asked the question to both individuals saying, what part of, each other's games would you like the other one to have? So Marvin Harrison Jr. of course goes, I want to give my dad my height. I'm 6'4". He was like 5'10" or whatever. And Marvin Harrison goes, I would want him to be complaining to get the ball on Monday. It's like he went on a rate where he was like, if I got 6 catches there, I come in Monday, be like, why didn't I get 10? And so it shows me that this kid isn't a diva and he's kind of humbled in his own ability.
How many quarterbacks? Sorry, Walt.
No.
How many quarterbacks has DJ Moore had? 7, 8?
Yep. That's exactly what I was about to say. Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be just like DJ Moore.
And name me the big quarterback that DJ Moore has had. Can anybody name one?
Justin Fields.
I love this discussion. You guys are so awesome. I'm just listening. Go ahead.
It's all in context, man. You got to build the freaking team. We'll get a quarterback. If Justin Fields fails, we'll get a quarterback. If we got to wait, if next year's shit, 2026, there's guys coming out. Isn't Shador supposed to be out in 2025?
That's it.
Is there? But you have to ask.
There's going to be a quarterback because every year there's a generational talent.
No. Listen. Generational is generational, which means we are still in the generation of Patrick Mahomes. So
no,
there's going to be
generational just used way too fucking much, man.
No, generational.
Every year there's a generational quarterback.
It's not every year, but
okay, almost every fucking year there's a generational quarterback. To somebody every year there's a generational quarterback because I hear it every year.
Let me name you. No, it's not every year. It's more frequent than it should be, but it's not every year. Let me name you the last 6. There have been 6 guys that have been named quote unquote generational quarterbacks. It's John Elway, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Andrew Luck. He was legit. Eli Manning was legitimately named as a generational quarterback.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck. Who's the guy in between there that I'm thinking of? But now it's Caleb Williams. There's a guy in there.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. Thank you. Yeah. Trevor Lawrence.
But truthfully, Zim. Truthfully,
so you're proving here my point.
You're still
my
in the,
point.
You're
no,
still in
my
the same
point.
generation of Andrew Luck. If you're being honest.
My point
let's talk about
is that over a 30
No. Shut up. Let Zim finish.
Over a 40-year stretch. We have had 6. We have had 6 supposed generational quarterbacks. 2 of those guys came over the stretch of 15 years. 3 of those guys have come over the stretch of 12 years. You're really going to tell me that over the stretch of 12 years, we've had 3 generational quarterbacks, when over the stretch of 15 years, we struggled to find 2? Bullshit.
So what you're saying is generational can still overlap, which means we could still be in a period where there is another generational quarterback.
No, what I'm saying is that it's completely unpredictable who these generational guys are supposedly going to be. I truly think
is rated. Is overrated.
We had 3 of those guys out of the 6 that were named. I think 3 of them were truly generational, and it was John Elway, Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, and all 3 of them went to the same franchise.
But if you go look at those 3 that were
what did Andrew Luck win?
But no, go look at those 3.
What did Andrew Luck win?
Andrew Luck won a torn Achilles 3 years in a row. Like, come on.
But he won nothing. And then
he retired. He was in a championship and a championship.
He didn't win a Super Bowl. That's all I'm asking. Did he win a Super Bowl? No.
He would have won one by now.
Super Bowl win is the thing.
He was
Doug Van Dorn says, Zim, you're naming those who played into being generational. Guys like Ryan Lee, Marcus Mariota, Jameson Winston. They also got the tag. And Bryce Young was called that a year ago. That's why I said, let's go into the illegitimate, supposedly called generational, because they use it way too fucking much.
Well, and here's the thing. There's this Twitter feed that's been making the rounds this week about guys over the last 30 years that were picked number 1 overall, considered quote unquote successful. In order to be successful, they had to have.
We posted that on a show like 3 weeks ago. Foster, we were talking about this the other day.
Didn't it just come up?
In order to be successful, 4,000 yards passing, 4,000 yards passing, 30 touchdowns in a season, 80 career starts, winning a playoff game, making the Pro Bowl, right? That's what they consider successful. They claim that something like 70% of these guys picked number 1 overall actually are considered successful. The problem with that is you're considering guys like Andrew Luck. You're considering guys like Jameis Winston. Let me ask you guys something.
Oh, no.
Off
I never
the wall.
was considering Jameis Winston.
If Caleb Williams has the same career trajectory as Jameis Winston, do you consider that a successful draft pick?
No, I want to go back to what you said before. When you were talking about when you were naming those picks of generational quarterbacks, like, name me every one of those quarterbacks that you saw with your own eye test that you went, this is legitimately a generational quarterback. And for my own eye test, it was obviously Elway, Peyton Manning for sure. I was watching him in high school. Andrew Luck for sure. That was he was a generational. He played in a championship game before he retired. He retired way early. Who knows what the hell he could have done after being in a championship game in his 2nd or 3rd year?
Andrew Luck would be playing in championships right now if they had built that offense.
Perennially. So look, when you look at, if you want to, and like I said, a generational to me is every generation. What's that? 10 years?
16 to 18 years.
Okay, so let's just round up and say 20. Okay, it's 20 years. So you want to take every 20 years, there's a generational quarterback. But if you're like overlapping that with every 5 or 10, and there's a freaking damn good quarterback that comes along like a Lamar Jackson that the Ravens trade up to get in like what the 31st pick in the first round, who they tried to make him a wide receiver, and now he's a 2-time MVP. I mean, this all, and this is no love lost for Justin Fields. It's possible that it can happen to him. My whole scenario about the AI thing was that, an AI machine would say, do this. It's not necessarily my point of view. It doesn't reflect the views of BCP. It's just, let's think about this as a fan base, because that's what we're doing. That's why you guys are here in chat hanging out with us, because you want to speculate what we have to speculate. It's all fucking speculation. So
no, some people don't want to speculate.
Different ideas.
Some people just want to tell us we're wrong.
Hey,
well, so here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Also, I'm almost done, PJ. That it's not necessarily that it's not generational. But it is that you can. We've seen it happen, and it overlaps. So who's to say that a Caleb Williams isn't going to be the next best quarter?
Who's to say he is?
a weird trend recently was all of a sudden these quarterbacks come out of the gate and like the rookie of the year quarterback, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden the quarterbacks kind of dissipated and they kind of, we weren't talking about the rookie quarterback for like a couple of years there. And so
who's to say he is going to be the guy, Shorty?
I agree with PJ. Who do you know in your life, in your circle of people, who in your world told you Peyton Manning's not it? I don't see it with him. Who in your world told you Andrew Luck's not it? I don't know. Just something about him. I just don't get it. Now, who in your world has told you that with Caleb Williams? I don't know. He just doesn't seem like the guy to me.
Well, hold on. We're in a different realm now with a whole different people are all of the teams are thinking in a much more robust manner now. So they are, who knows if they don't have their own media teams that are like leaking information. Like right now we're hearing, and I'm
still trying to figure out, Shorty.
I'm typing Chicago Bears into Google the last couple of days because I've been working so much that I can't really keep up. So I just go Chicago Bears, and I get, looks like Justin Fields is on the trading block on 5
Why do you
different.
think he's the guy, Shorty?
By the way, but my point is, I'm almost done, PJ. Is that who knows if that's driven by a different narrative from a different team because they want to like dismantle the thoughts of other teams because they're close to being able to trade up for that pick because the Bears own it. If you can like fuck up the psyche of the Bears by going, Caleb Williams doesn't want to play for the Bears. Caleb Williams likes to cry to his mommy. Caleb Williams loves his doggy. Caleb Williams set out of the
Bears are going to do all the
game. Blah, 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 blah. I'm almost done. And then you go, no, we had him traded to us. We just won 4 Super Bowls in 10 years with him. I'm done. Go ahead.
Why do you think he's the guy?
Because if I told, and previously I said, when you compare college to college, you can't compare Justin Fields in year 4.
No. Justin Fields aside, why is Caleb Williams the guy?
Because you gave up on your offensive. You're making Justin Fields relearn an offense all over again in year 4. His third offense in 4 years. So
Justin Fields never existed.
Hold up. You're making Caleb Williams learn his third offense in 4 years. Are you not? Are you not?
Yep. Yes, of course you are.
Well, what the fuck's the difference?
Touche.
PJ, generational. You remember guys like Fran Tarkenton, Roger Staubach, Don Strock. There's like 3 more I can't remember. They all played at the same damn time. All these guys were playing at the same damn time. There was 10 generational quarterbacks in the NFL in the 70s and the early 80s.
I'm not disliking
the
Caleb
70s
Williams.
and the 80s, man. They could pound a 6-pack and a half
Only
rail of Coke.
Only thing I'm trying to get
Jurgensen did that and was one of the greatest quarterbacks. He had a big beer belly, didn't even look like a fucking quarterback. Go ahead.
There's a reason the hefty lefty didn't make it, man. It's a different era.
Jared
Lorenzen would have been great in the 70s, man.
And wish they had the ability or the opportunity to throw.
But what is it specifically, Shorty, about Caleb Williams that makes him the guy? That's what I'm trying to understand. Because we're going through this exercise. I mean, you're comparing what Justin is and what makes Caleb the guy that he does so much better than anyone else.
Guys, that you decided to change the fucking offense again. So if you're going to change the offense with our quarterback, I don't want to go through the goddamn Jay Cutler experience over and over and over again on rinse and repeat.
It's not the fact that Caleb.
No one said they're changing the offense.
Do the right thing and go and start over again from scratch. New OC, new quarterback. Let's roll. Let's not go. Well, let's try to go. Well,
we can fire Flus and do it all again for 3 more years, which we've been doing for like 12.
I don't want. I'm so sick of the "he wasn't my guy" narrative.
So your argument is because you don't want to go through a new him Justin going to a new offensive coordinator.
I'm saying I don't want to be a dinosaur anymore. I want to think outside of the box as an organization.
Okay. But do you recall the 2000?
Go out of the box. Go get Jim Harbaugh. That failed. Okay, now do the right thing with OC. Find someone who's going to be here for a while and not want to become the next new hotshot head coach. Unless you're right, Zim, they promote him and fire Flus. I would love that, but they wouldn't do that because that's the fucking Bears. The Bears would not hire Kubiak and then make him ascend Justin Fields to become a 4,000-yard, 30 touchdown, 10 interception passer, and then him leave for an OC, and then Eberflus failed because he's like trying to replace that guy. And then Kubiak goes on to win like multiple Super Bowl. Like the Bears would not just go, fuck you, Flus, we're going to promote Kubiak. The Bears don't do that until they prove to me that they can do that, which they have not. And today you're telling me that they fired Clint Stein, Cliff Stein, who is to me has been one of the bedrock pieces of this team.
You only know what you hear about
Greg
him,
Gabriel.
One of the bedrock pieces of the Ted Phillips era.
And let me say one damn sentence.
Hold on.
Finally,
Zim, I appreciate your youngsterness on this. I do. You're well spoken.
In the last 50 years, PJ, correct me if I'm wrong, the Bears are actually doing something right. They're trying to keep the same team together, to let it grow together, because we just don't do that. We do exactly what last week's show was. Rinse, repeat, redo. So you want to bring in a new quarterback right now and then fire Flus at the end of the year and do what we just did for the last 7 years. Because that's what's going to happen.
Great point. Great point, Foster, because
saying,
I think part of the thing
too, and I hate it. PJ and I have been watching this for 50 fucking years, man.
I think the part that Shorty keep overlooking is you're saying that, this offensive coordinator, blah, 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 and that's why you want the Caleb Williams to line up with him. Here's the real scenario. The real scenario is this. You bring in this offensive coordinator. Bears stink next year. Guess what? Everybody's going.
Yep.
Everybody's
still
going.
got all your picks, Peach.
Why are you bringing in a new quarterback?
Everybody's not going. You don't make this move if you're not committing to Eberflus for at least 2 years.
If this team acts up or self-destructs next year, Eberflus is gone. Eberflus is gone. If this team,
I really think
the playoffs.
It would be catastrophic.
Oh my God!
Why would
Thank
why
you?
Would it
You're
be
adding
catastrophic?
to my point.
Wait,
so
why
my
would
point
it be
is
catastrophic if Fields fails. And you wait. Just let me lay this out. So he fails, and we've got all this draft capital next year. Plus, we've already built the team up for the last 3 drafts. So now we've got something to work with. And you wipe the slate clean, and you bring in a new quarterback, new coach, and everything. Why would that be? That's much better.
Thank you.
I'm not saying the situation would be catastrophic. I'm saying that it would have to be catastrophic in order to get rid of Eberflus.
Agreed. If they win 6 games next year after doing all this shit, goodbye to everybody.
No.
Fields, Flus, the works.
If they win
next year, and that's okay.
If they win 6 games, if they win fewer than they won this year, they will find a scapegoat that will not be Eberflus. It is the George McCaskey way. You find that damn scapegoat and you blame him for everything.
See, now this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. This is not like the past. Because if George McCaskey had his way, I couldn't see Cliff Stein leaving. Even when he was taken out of the position, he still remained in the regime. He is no longer in the regime, and that's a George McCaskey guy. He's become a McCaskey guy.
He's a Ted Phillips guy.
Bulls are running this team, not George McCaskey, as much as he has been in the past.
I do agree with that sentiment.
After the last 50 years, that's how it appears to me. Not saying I'm right, but that's how it appears to me. Sorry, dude.
Well, Well, let me say this.
You guys all just
Let me get my 2 cents in.
everything that I just said.
I'm going to get my 2
time.
cents in, Shorty. My 2 cents is this. Here it is. If you bring in a new quarterback, you are married to that new quarterback, and that's the same thing we did with Justin Fields, same thing we did with Mitch Trubisky, brought in the quarterback a year after. By you sticking with Flus, you stick with your quarterback. And then, like we said, if we only win 3 games next year, you get rid of Flus, you get rid of Fields, you get rid of everybody. Then you bring in
up on the quarterback who won Rookie of the Year and MVP.
But you keep saying that.
And 3
What
fucking
makes
Super
sense?
Bowls. They're like, well,
there's no guarantee that Williams is going to win that.
Dude. You're predicting
There's no guarantee that Williams is going to be that guy.
Who's to say the next quarterback in next year's draft is better than Caleb Williams?
But what I'm saying is you're throwing all your hope on Caleb Williams. I'm throwing all my hope on getting more players to where we can have a better team. But you want to throw all your hope on Caleb Williams in the hope that he's his guy. All I'm saying is from what I've seen, I've never seen him to be a generational guy. I've seen him to be a good quarterback who can make some good off-platform throws, who is a good quarterback, but he's not generational. He can't fail.
Everyone, please give me the mic for a second. PJ.
Time out. No, I'm cutting you off, Shorty. PZ, do you think, because PZ said Stein butted heads with Warren over money business, nothing to do with football. I agree. But do you think if George McCaskey, because they're related, wanted Stein to stay, do you think Stein would go? Just a question, dude. Sorry.
Wait, Stein and McCaskey are related?
What did you say? Thought that.
Oh, PJ.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this. I want you to ask. I want you to not think about your projections. I want you to go into the future. Okay.
With an open mind.
And what I'm about to project to you is reality. It's in the real time. It's 1 year from now.
Okay.
Okay. And this has happened. And I want you to give me your honest answer. Please. If the Bears do not trade Justin Fields and the Bears trade the first pick and they get a boatload of picks and they get MHJ and blah, 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 fucking make your dream scenario. Okay. And then they hire your dream head coach, offensive coordinator that you want, not any of us, but you. Okay. But next year, Caleb Williams becomes Rookie of the Year. He wins a Super Bowl in 2 years or less. After that, no rookie has ever won I'm not going to project that he's going to win a Super Bowl in his rookie year. Maybe his second year he could.
You said this was real, Dan. It's not real. You're making it up.
No, I'm saying I want him to just
you said this is real. It's not real. You're making this scenario up.
I am making this scenario up because I want PJ to project this just in his mind to think about what his answer would.
You don't remember your first sentence before you said.
Get out of here, Foster. So you PJ, just project this into the future. Okay.
Okay.
Caleb Williams is drafted first by the. Fuck off, Foster. We'll get back to you in a second. Caleb Williams is drafted first by we trade the pick to a team that gives us 18 million picks. Okay. Next year, Caleb Williams becomes Rookie of the Year, passing for 4,159 yards and 32 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. We'll just give him Jordan Love's numbers from this year.
Okay.
Shut up, Foster. You can talk when you're done. When I'm done. And Justin Fields throws for 2,112 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions, and runs for another 400. And the Bears go 6-17. Whatever the fuck that is now. I don't even know how to calculate anymore. It's not even. Okay. They have a losing record.
Okay.
How I want you to tell me in real time right now. Let's just pretend we're a year from now.
Okay.
Tell me how you are going to. No, don't go okay. Sit there and absorb it for a second.
I've observed everything.
No, absorb it. Go take a deep breath with me. Go like this. And think about it for a second.
Whoosha.
Okay. Tell me how you're going to feel this time next year with all that scenario that I just put out there.
This is
Pissed
exactly
off.
This is exactly how I'm going to feel. I wonder how those draft picks done with all that draft capital we got. How did those players turn out? Did they improve the team? Did we get better as a team because of them? Or did Poles make a monumental mistake in picking the wrong guys? So
all right, that's enough of you. So Foster, what did you have to say? I'm just
can't even let the guy answer it.
I had to do that for fun. Go ahead.
You know what? Mr. Mayhem 69 says, what if Justin Fields becomes great on the Falcons and Caleb Williams becomes a bust on the Bears? Because all this is conjecture and stuff we're making up.
My response to Mayhem would be name another quarterback that got drafted in the first round by a team and then was traded to another that failed on that team or didn't live up to his expectations and then got traded to another team and then became a superstar on that second team.
Eli Manning, John Elway.
John Elway. No.
Just because it's never happened doesn't mean it won't happen. Tell me a quarterback from Texas Tech and won the Super Bowl.
A guy by the name of Brett Favre was drafted by the Atlanta Falcons.
In the second round. Jerry, he wasn't a first-round pick.
Oh, it's got to be a
Mayfield.
No,
I don't.
I mean, do you consider him a
shit when they're drafted? Just be good or get out.
Baker Mayfield's about to be a superstar when he wins Super Bowl MVP this year.
You're right about that. That's to be determined. But name another one. Cornelius Squalls, who has been on this program before, actually pointed out.
Drew Brees is a great example.
No, he was a second-round pick.
Doug Williams.
Doug Williams. You're right about Doug Williams, but was he a superstar? He won a Super Bowl. But he wasn't. He was a one-hit wonder quarterback.
We get caught in the weeds. We get caught in the weeds with this argument every time. Your argument is always because it never happened before, it won't happen. Before Patrick Mahomes won a Super Bowl, there has never been a quarterback from Texas Tech to win a Super Bowl. But guess what? It happened. Patrick Mahomes was that guy to do it. Before
C.J. Stroud, there was never an Ohio State quarterback that won Offensive Rookie of the Year.
And it was fucking C.J. Stroud who was worse than Justin Fields.
So, Shorty, the point is, just because it's never happened before doesn't mean it won't happen. That's a weak argument. No matter what you're arguing about. If you're using an argument that because it never happened before,
it's an argument that has a percentage that shows you that it's like 99% true. It does not happen. You can give me. In fact, there's only been one person to give me two examples, and you gave me one, which was Doug Williams, but he wasn't a superstar. He just won a Super Bowl. The other one that was a superstar was the Raiders quarterback, Jim Plunkett, who was traded after failing on the first team and became a superstar for the Raiders. So that's pretty much the only one you can give me an example of if I were to correct you on that. So if
hold on. I missed a lot of stuff here. Can we go back? What is the question?
For that team.
We're asking insanely specific questions with insanely specific answers, Walt. Can you tell me which team has won more games during the week over the last two seasons than on weekends? Like, what does this have to do with anything? Come on.
No, that is true. But what was the actual question that Dan posted or posed to you guys?
He said, name a quarterback that was on one team, was drafted in the first round on one team, and then went to another team.
And failed. He failed on that
failed
team.
On the first team, but then went to another team and became great.
What's the definition of failure?
Didn't
not winning the Super Bowl?
No, he failed, meaning they're wrecking. He had the team lost while he was the quarterback. Okay. His numbers weren't, they didn't compare to the top passing quarterbacks in the league, and he was traded, and then became a quarterback from there that was basically the one that everyone's talking about. the Patrick Mahomes of the league today, or the Joe Montanas of the league back then, or in this case, I could say the Jim Plunkett's, because there's only one that I can think of per Cornelius Squalls, who's not in this chat, and thank you, Cornelius. And you guys know who he is.
Yep.
He pointed out Jim Plunkett, and he was traded, and he was a superstar. He was like a top quarter. By that, I mean the top quarterback in the league. And then it doesn't even matter if you win a Super Bowl, but if you're like the top quarterback in the league and like everyone wishes they had you, that, I guess Jim Plunkett could be the only one guy per Cornelius.
And because it never happened before.
Shorty. 2 or 3 years doesn't count to me. It's long-term success, 16.
And you're right. You're right, PJ. Just because it's not happened before doesn't mean it can't happen now. But we're talking about the Bears is the point.
What do you consider successful, though? I mean, are you considering Kirk Cousins, who
I said
didn't?
Steve Young 10 times, J2K. Nobody said anything.
I mean, Kirk Cousins. We've got. Sorry, let me go through this list. Ryan Tannehill. We've got Geno Smith.
Okay,
let me continue.
Wait, pause. Zim, pull up Geno Smith's stats for this year.
They were underwhelming this year. That doesn't mean he's not a success.
Okay, pull him up last year. No, I'm going somewhere with this. Just pull him up.
He carried a competitive team. I don't have the numbers up right in front of me.
Okay, let me pull them up.
Steve Young.
I only said that 20 times, PJ.
Steve Young was not a first-round pick.
How about what Jared Goff's doing?
Why it has to be specifically a first-round pick? What's the point of the argument? First-round pick, seventh-round
pick. Other guys don't matter, PJ, that they were successful. They just don't matter.
Jared Goff was picked number 1 overall.
Yep.
The LA Rams completely gave up on him, and he just led the Detroit Lions. Whether I think it's a fluke or not, stats are stats if this is what we're arguing. He just led the Detroit Lions to their first playoff win in over 30 years.
Okay. You could make an argument for Jared Goff right there. Thank you. And
I think Baker Mayfield deserves an argument too, who is
Nick
also
Foles
a former number 1 overall pick.
Nick Foles is great.
Okay, so I also have the numbers right now for Geno Smith. 3,624 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions this year. His yards are more in one season than Eric Kramer has thrown for as our leading quarterback for all those records for yards, touchdowns in a season.
Who cares?
So, you are making an argument for Baker Mayfield. What was his? And Geno Smith.
95 is okay, but not 1985, right, Shorty?
Oh, here's a beautiful one. How about Matt Stafford, who was the number 1 overall pick, couldn't win a playoff game in Detroit and won a Super Bowl?
He was not a failure on that team. He was.
How was he not a failure? He didn't win a single. No. He didn't win a single playoff game in Detroit. How is that not a failure?
Well, but if you're trading him for 2 first-round picks,
oh my God,
he's not a fucking failure. If you're getting them,
not considered a failure.
You're changing the criteria
of your argument
based on the results.
If the Bears could get 2 first-round, what did they get for that trade? 2? Was it 1 or 2? Let's just say it was 1. If the Bears could get 1 first-round pick this year for Justin Fields, wouldn't that be a success? Along with keeping that first-round pick and drafting a quarterback? Because it's not like they're getting 2 seconds in the next 2 years or 3 years for Justin Fields.
My new motto, Shorty, you are correct.
If you could get a first-round pick for Justin Fields, he'd already be traded.
Yeah, you're not
exactly. And what?
If Atlanta really offered 8, do you think if Atlanta offered the Bears 8 for him, you think he'd be on the Bears?
Wait, let's look at what the Matthew Stafford trade was.
Alex Smith, Carson Palmer, Michael Vick. Should I keep going?
No, stop.
I mean, you want to make these arguments, and just because they don't come to the top of your mind means that they're not relevant. But
wait,
these guys,
go back. What did you say before that? I'm looking up.
Let me go back up. Sorry, let me scroll back up.
Matthew Stafford, Michael Vick, Jared Goff,
Alex Smith,
yeah, Steve Young. I mean,
Carson Palmer. Did Carson Palmer not completely revitalize a dead in the water Arizona Cardinals team?
Absolutely, he did.
Yes. And again, the whole argument, I don't get the argument. It's like just because something never happened before.
This is not an argument.
Okay, I don't get
how many good quarterbacks have won a Super Bowl with great teams and coaching around them?
I never said that. My question was superstar. Who got traded that failed and became a superstar who was drafted in the first round?
I mean, I just named a bunch of them.
Well, that's what I said. I give you credit for that. Like I wanted someone to point that out to me. But I wasn't like asking you because I thought I knew.
Tell him to get on Google himself and look.
I wanted someone to prove me wrong. And you're I've asked this question 18 times, Zim, and you handed it to me. So thank you. It's possible. It has happened.
We said Steve Young.
Dan, we brought this up.
Second round pick.
I feel like an argument could even be made for Vinny Testaverde on a certain extent, but that's to a much lesser level.
But the whole why does it matter if it's the first round or the seventh round? If a guy was a bust one where and went somewhere else, why does it matter?
Oh,
it's because it's if you trade Justin and you're worried about him becoming a superstar on another team, I want the example of how many times that has happened. 1 in 100, 1 in 1.
I mean, I just went back to 1985 and found at least a half a dozen examples. I mean, I understand that that's 6 out of 40, but 6 out of 40 is 3 out of 20 is,
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter if he was a first or a seventh rounder, because that's the part is where I don't get the argument on or the discussion. What difference does it make what round he came from? If he wasn't good in one place, according to you, but he went to someplace else and became a superstar, that should be the only criteria. And in that criteria, there's numerous players. It shouldn't matter what round he comes from.
Thank you, PJ.
Because you've spent a first round pick on Justin Fields is my argument to that. So if you're going to trade a first round pick quarterback to another team and be worried about him becoming a superstar on said team, it's not like you drafted a 5th round quarterback and he was like, we can't really work with this guy.
You would feel the same way. I mean, if we got rid of Tyson Bagent right now and he went somewhere else and won 3 Super Bowls in a row, we'd be looking like, we should have kept Tyson Bagent.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter. Like, I never liked Tyson Bagent. Fuck that guy.
No, because you're going to say that. You're going to say that people say that about Fields anyway. So it doesn't matter where we get the guy from. If he goes to another team and be successful, we're all going to feel the same way anyway. So where we drafted him at doesn't matter.
All I was trying to do was point out the simple fact that rarely happens. So you should not be worried about that.
But what I'm saying, but what we're saying is,
be a failure.
It has happened many times where a player was on one team, didn't have success there, but found success on another team. That's the argument we're making. No matter if he's in the first round, undrafted free agent, whatever. He was started off with one team.
I'm going back to when the Bears traded for fucking Mike Myers.
Steve Young was a first round
Rick
pick
Meyer.
USFL.
Rick Meyer.
So he was a first.
They gave up 2 first round picks for Rick Meyer because he was rookie of the year for the Seahawks, and he was like awesome. And then he struggled the next season, so they were like, we're gonna give up all these picks for this guy, and he was a complete fucking failure.
And the Seahawks knew it. They knew it and made him look good and laughed the minute the Bears made that trade.
This is why I fucking hate Bears fans. You guys, we're having a nice civil discussion. Somebody's got to fucking bring up Rick Meyer. God damn it. What is wrong with you guys?
That was me.
Whatever happened to whatchamacallit?
Hey, you weren't alive for it. I was there. I watched it happen in real time. You were born
Marshall Falk.
2018.
Marshall
right.
Falk.
I'm 7.
Marshall Falk. He started off with one team, had great success there, or he was good there. Won another Super Bowl somewhere else.
Running back.
Hey, wait. As long as we're talking about running backs,
apples and oranges, bro.
Can I remind you guys of something that happened in our favorite organization just 18 years ago, when in 2005 we had Thomas Jones, a bell cow running back that the entire locker room was behind. And instead of drafting a quarterback that the entire team decided that we needed, the entire team decided that we needed a quarterback. And instead of drafting a quarterback, we drafted another running back instead of supporting the guy that the team was already behind. Almost like this 2024 Bears team, where the entire team seems to agree that they need weapons on the offensive side of the ball. And now everybody's arguing that they should draft a quarterback instead. I'm just saying, if it divided the locker room that much over a running back, over a guy who's considered a weapon and not the weapon, not the guy, can we just imagine what's going to happen if they decide to divide this locker room over a quarterback?
Well,
my God.
I look at what DJ Moore said.
Yes.
When interviewed, DJ Moore said, he said,
not just DJ Moore. I just want to expound on that real quick and point out that multiple defensive players have backed up what he said, including most recently Jalen Johnson on national media. But go ahead and continue, PK.
What DJ Moore specifically said was a scenario of you got me on one side, you got another good wide receiver on another side, and you have another 1,000-yard receiver, as a matter of fact, on the other side. And then you have Cole Kmet as the tight end. So again, here is a guy who's proven to be a great wide receiver, endorsing your quarterback, to your point that, okay, you got these players backing this guy up, but yet we want to go with a guy who, because he's a shiny new toy, that, let's give him a try. I mean, again, I'm not saying that he's going to be bad. Maybe Caleb Williams will be. Maybe he's be as good as CJ Stroud. But if we're still not there as a team, it doesn't benefit us to even get the guy, because we'll be in the same place we are now. DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and no one else.
Who's going to play for that guy? Who's going to play for a new quarterback? DJ Moore is guaranteed something like $30-some-odd million over the next 2 years. You think he gives a shit? He's guaranteed $30 million. If his guy's gone, he's going to collect his bag and go somewhere else, just like Allen Robinson did. Jeez. You think Cole Kmet, who is just guaranteed $12.5 million a year for the next 4 years, that starts this year in 2024. That dude is guaranteed $12.5 million a year. You really think he gives a shit who his quarterback or if his quarterback is not the guy who he wants it to be? No, he's making $12.5 million to play for his hometown club.
I think he cares, Zim, but he's not going to do anything about it.
These guys are behind him. There's so much weight in that. That's not being factored into this equation by the fans. There is so much support behind Justin Fields inside of Hallis Hall. If you draft Caleb Williams, you are borderline starting a mutiny. You have to start over completely from scratch. You have to trade Cole Kmet. You have to move on from DJ Moore. You have to find a new wide receiver one. You have to build an offensive line. At this point, you really think Cole Kmet's going to play for somebody who's not Justin Fields at this point in his career? Sure, he's a hometown boy. He's going to play out the rest of his career, and he's going to be perfectly happy to be on injured reserve his entire career and collect $12.5 million.
All I'm saying,
I'm not saying he's going to. I'm not saying that's the type of character he has.
It does make
but I'm saying that if this locker room is truly behind Justin Fields, why bother to play hard for a guy who's not him? Sure, they could be won over a year or two down the line, but in 2024, I genuinely think if you draft a quarterback, you're stealing. I mean, I'm talking the best case scenario with a rookie quarterback on the 2024 Chicago Bears is 5 wins. I mean, we're talking 5 wins if they scrap and fight tooth and nail to get those 5 wins.
Okay.
I'm in a hotel, so I can hear you guys while I'm taking a leak, and I wanted to
next year.
Whatever you said, PJ, the last thing you said, I wanted to add to that, and I forgot what you said because I was taking a leak. It was about You guys all make good points. This is the topic of tonight's discussion. It's not to argue. It's to debate and come up with ideas for all of us as Bears fans that can go, well, what is this? What is this? What is this? Like we have to be able to look at this from all perspectives because we have no say in this. We're not like running the team.
Okay.
So it's nice to have respective conversation and debate about what cannot happen with this team and what we think should move forward.
And if that's the case,
fans and our own opinions,
we all throwing it out there, right? So you give me a scenario, Shorty, where Justin Fields throws for 4,500 yards next year, and we passed on Caleb Williams, and those draft picks that we got turned out to make the all rookie team. How are you going to feel?
I don't even remember what I was going to say. It was like 20 minutes ago.
if we passed
I'm so sorry, Walt.
We passed on Caleb Williams, and we did what?
We passed on Caleb Williams, got a haul in draft picks. Those draft picks turned out to be all rookie team. Justin Fields throws for over 4,000 yards. How would you feel?
I would be totally elated. I would be like, this is exactly what my dream as a Bears fan was. I don't listen. Walt, you and PJ, you both think, and there's like a narrative out there that I hate Justin Fields, or I don't want Justin Fields to be the quarterback. That's not it at all.
I don't think I know.
No,
my problem with what you were saying is that yes, you did come out and say on this show that you support Justin Fields, he's your guy, and then in other avenues the argument changes to whatever else is going on around you.
I'm not allowed to change my narrative or my opinion or.
No. You're definitely allowed to change.
I'm not allowed to give you topics to debate about.
You're definitely allowed to change your opinion. That's not what I'm saying. You can change your opinion.
But listen.
But what you're doing.
This entire conversation is not about.
I muted him. I muted you, Dan.
No, that's not going to let him finish.
Creating a conversation.
Okay, what were you saying before that? Because all I got was creating a conversation.
I muted you.
It's about creating a conversation. It's not about like. Listen, I'm not out here to like make people. I don't have. I'm not pushing my own opinion on people or my own narrative on people. I'm here.
Whoa.
A debate for all of you guys as a panel to think about and have a discussion about. And I love that we're doing that because you guys are not like, it's not like you're not swaying my thoughts on this. I'm just posting the questions for us to debate about, and then they become a topic that we can debate about, and then it can like help all of us, including myself and you guys, and everyone in chat to kind of focus our attention onto a single, like a more of a single narrative, to where we can all kind of agree on, like, do we really want a brand new offensive coordinator? Do we really? If we do we really want a brand new offensive coordinator to teach an old quarterback, meaning old in as far as systems, or do we want to just start over again?
Okay, can I answer that?
And as fans, and as knowing as fans what the Bears organization constantly fails at, is it outside of the box to think that maybe we should not think like Bears fans, and maybe we should think as, again, we have no real narrative on this, it's just our opinions, but if the Bears were to actually, move forward into becoming an organization that is a part of the future,
can I answer that?
Would consider like doing something that would be against the narrative that a lot of people might be for, which is Justin and moving on and blah blah blah. But let's just say they didn't, and they became a Super Bowl team because of that, rather than the latter. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna answer that, because where we at is we have a new offensive coordinator coming.
Right.
That's
Now
it.
your quarterback is learning offense 4.
Let me talk. We got a new quarterback coming. I mean, a new offense coordinator coming. That's where we're at. So, what do I want to have happen moving forward? This offensive coordinator comes in, runs an offense that's similar to what we've been running the last couple of years, and looks like that's what we're trying to do. Therefore, the quarterback as well as the players don't have to learn a whole new offense. It makes it easier to learn. So therefore, the chances of our success is that much greater. So yes, to answer your question, do I want a new offensive coordinator to come in and bring in this offense? Yes, I do want that, because that's better than what we had, because Getty was horrible. So I would rather go with that scenario as opposed to bringing in a new quarterback, getting him to learn this. And if by chance we fail, we have to get rid of the whole thing, because I think what I believe is if we fail next year with what we have already, we can get a new slate. If we don't fail, we move forward. However, I don't want to see, because then I think it'd be the perfect time to marry the quarterback and the head coach and go forward from there. Right now, we cannot marry the head coach and the quarterback because we didn't fire Flus. We didn't fire him, so we can't go backwards. We kept him. So because we kept him, let's make it work now. Let's try to make it work now. And if it doesn't work, next year we can marry them together. That's my short answer.
I think we've been saying that for weeks, PJ, you and I, and I don't think anyone's picked up on it.
Hey,
We're not. We haven't said that you can't. Hold on, Dan's saying something, but I don't know what he's saying.
You guys,
You guys are thinking right within the Bears box. Like you're like McCaskey going, well, we're going to hire the next airline pilot to run the team. And we're going to
I don't even know what that means.
Pilot to be the general manager. We're going to hire the next airline pilot to be the head coach. We're going to hire the next airline pilot. Like everyone has to follow suit in the Bears organization and be that typical Bears guy. And there needs at some point to be somebody needs to take that can and shake that fucking shit up and go, let's see what happens now. And it's never happened. And all I want from the Bears is to do something like that. And whether that's and I'm all for whatever Poles wants to do. If he wants to keep Fields, I'm fine with that. If he wants to go new offensive coordinator with a different offense that's not following suit with the previous offense, I'm fine with it. I do agree with we all see this, and I follow suit with it. PGTS. Poles got this shit. But I'm trying to think of outside the box of what would actually I was doing that with Harbaugh. That's out the window. So now what's the next out of the box scenario to actually none of us want a flash in the pan team. We don't want Flus to go 11-5 next year, or whatever the fuck that record would be, 11-6 next year, and then make the playoffs, and then bow out in the first round, and then not make the playoffs for 5 years. Nobody wants that. That's the Bears. Well, what is the protocol to get to the next level that is not that? Is it the quarterback? Is it the head coaching system? Is it the offensive coordinator? Since we kept
you throwing me off, bro. You throwing me off. I'm sorry. I am literally over here trying to figure out. I'm like T3P. What are you getting at?
It's actually TP3, not T3P.
Oh, sorry about that. So
no, TP3
this is T3P on there.
No, TP3 would be top positive layer 3 for me at work. So thank you. What?
So yeah, I just don't get what you're getting at. I just don't. I mean, because we're in the situation. Because here's the thing. I mean, to answer Leonidas as well as you, I'm not saying Caleb Williams is a bad quarterback. I have never said that. Only thing I'm saying is where we're at right now, because I don't think Justin Fields is a bad quarterback. I think we can win with him. I really believe that.
I don't disagree with you. I think we can too.
If I thought that we would lose with him, I would say yes, get rid of him. But because I think we can win with him, I would rather have Justin Fields and multiple draft picks.
You're settling. So what you're saying is, if
You're not
I
letting me
think that
finish,
we
sir.
can, you're saying I think that we can win with him. When
But
you're
not letting me
saying
finish,
that,
sir.
okay, go ahead.
I'm saying I would rather go with Justin Fields and multiple draft picks because I think that's a better option than going with Caleb Williams or any other quarterback first overall and not having high enough draft picks to make an impact with players to help the team. That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense to anyone besides Nate?
It makes sense to me, but you're saying I think we can win with him.
Yes.
You need the word to be because of him, not with him. We can win with
semantics. I'm not going to argue.
Hold up. Hold up. Did the Eagles win with Jalen Hurts, or did they win because of Jalen Hurts? And I understand that they may have lost the Super Bowl, but they were still in a damn Super Bowl.
I would say last year they won because of him.
I strongly disagree, and I think their offensive line would also strongly disagree with you. Man, it's gonna be cyclical. It's never gonna. We're not gonna ever agree on all of it. We're gonna sit here and argue about it because it's what we do.
Right.
I mean, I get it. We're never gonna come to a resolution about it. And in 3 months, we're all gonna look back at this. We're gonna look back at this and say, "I told you so. I told you so." And everybody's gonna be like, "But you didn't tell us anything at the same time."
Right. Well, opinions are like
the whole thing that it boils down to me, right, is what makes the Bears a better team tomorrow, right? What makes them a better team? And is that Caleb Williams plus the 9th overall pick plus a 2nd round pick, assuming you get a 2nd pick for Justin Fields, right? So in this scenario, you take the 1st overall pick and you trade Justin Fields. Or sticking with Justin Fields, getting 3 extra draft picks, some of which might be in the future, and building this team up. And that's the bottom line, is it really doesn't matter what you think of Justin Fields. It matters what you think of this roster, right? And it matters. This is why I asked the question, like an hour and a half ago at this point, which is, what's the biggest hole on this roster? Is it quarterback? No. Then you don't draft a quarterback number 1 overall. And that's the bottom line. As far as I'm concerned, are they a Caleb Williams away from making the playoffs? Are they a Jaden Daniels away from making the playoffs? Are they a Drake May away from making the playoffs? If the answer is anything but yes, that's why you have to make a different choice at number 1. And the reason behind it is that you can get a quarterback later. If you build up it's been shown time and time again that if you build up a roster, you can put a quarterback in a system like a Jalen Hurts, like a Tua Tagovailoa, like a Patrick Mahomes, like a Geno Smith, like a Brock Purdy, the last pick in the entire draft, who is now arguably the NFC MVP this year because they built a team and then inserted a quarterback that could learn the system. That's my point in all of this. My point is not who's the better quarterback. I don't give a flying fuck who the better quarterback is. I give a shit what makes the Bears win. And what's going to make the Bears win tomorrow is a better offensive line, better offensive weapons, and a better pass rush. Those three things are going to help them win. So that's what I'm after in this draft here.
I think
and free agency.
I think that is the absolute best way to end this show, Zim. Because it's going on it's actually 3 hours.
No.
Oh, wait a second. No,
wait a minute. Shorty, we have barely heard from Walt as well as Foster. And you want to talk about ending the show without hearing from my cohorts. I want to hear more.
All about what they had to say. We're kind of like already repeating ourselves.
If I'm being honest, me and you did most of the talking. Me and Zim. Foster and Walt really hasn't talked that much. I really want to hear what they have to say.
Foster got like 15 uninterrupted minutes at the beginning of the show, so there's that.
Oh, parting thoughts.
I mean, Foster, why don't you start here? Because I figure if I go last, no one's going to jump in and cut me off again, like it's happening right now. I'm trying to talk for the last 20 minutes. Shit.
Just real quick. I'm sorry, Foster. I will let you talk as soon as I'm done. I have to counteract this absolute. I'm just going to say it. You guys can never invite me on the show again if you want after this, but this absolute buffoon in the chat room sitting here trying to tell me that you don't win with a quarterback when Joe Flacco and Trent Dilfer are wearing quarterback rings right now, or Super Bowl rings right now. My God, man, don't sit here and tell me you don't win without a quarterback when Trent Dilfer is wearing a Super Bowl ring at this exact moment in time.
But that's a one-hit. You're talking about a one-hit wonder team in those instances. I don't want that. We've had 13 and 3 Dick Duran teams.
No. I get it. I'm not sitting here trying to say that Trent Dilfer should have run a dynasty. I'm simply saying
that Jim Miller was awesome as quarterback for the Bears. Let's bring Jim Miller back. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm saying is Foster and Walt. That's what I'm saying.
Foster, take it away. I just had to address that. It's the most ridiculous comment I've seen all night. This guy's been trolling us all evening long. I understand that he's a joke and should not be taken seriously. I respect you for listening and watching the show and contributing in the chat room, because at the end of the day, that's what gets this podcast engagements and what gets them attention on YouTube. So thank you so much, Leonidas or Leonardo or Splitter Leonidas, or whatever Ninja Turtle you are. I appreciate you watching, even though I'm not a regular member. Foster, I'm sorry to interrupt. Take it away.
You're good anytime, Zen.
Tell Michelangelo and the other turtles hi for me.
No sweat. Here, it's real simple. I've said it forever, man. I want a sustainable winning team, and to do that, you can't do it with just a quarterback. We've got to build the team first, man. You can plug in guys later. I'm not saying it's easy to get a quarterback, because we know it's not, because look at what we've gone through. But having Poles and that type of mindset, because it's all the guy's done since he couldn't become a football player with the Bears. All he's ever done is be involved in building championship teams. Go back and look at Boston College, right down the line to Kansas City to the Bears. So I don't even know the right answer here, man. Is Caleb the guy or not? I'm going to leave that up to Poles. But just like you said with Dilfer and whoever else, doesn't even matter, because you're not going to win a Super Bowl with the greatest quarterback in the NFL. Look at all the Super Bowls Aaron Rodgers won. Greatest quarterback ever. Look at all the Super Bowls he won. They didn't put the talent around him. They should have been drafting some wide receivers maybe when they didn't. So I got to go for talent. You've got to have the team in place. We don't have everything in place. We do not. People can kid themselves and say we're 3 or 4 guys away. We're not. Our depth sucks. A lot of this team, the interior offensive line, if Cleveland or any of these other playoff teams, Houston had those 3 guys on their interior offensive line, they would have never made the playoffs. Never. And I'm throwing Tevin in there. Not just because of the one bad game, but you can't have 3 guys in the middle and only one of them doing his job. So I'm leaving this, because this will be like the 3rd time in my life, hopefully, that I've got to see a guy come in and take a team that was crap, going nowhere, and turn it around. And I'm talking Jim Finks in the 70s to the 80s. And Angelo and Gabriel and them guys in the early 2000s. That's the only time it's happened. We have never had long sustained success.
But even
that's,
Lovie Smith,
and that's what Poles needs to do. Now you can say whatever you want. I'm just
if we were talking, if this was 2005, we would be complaining about how they passed up on on Aaron Rodgers, who was supposed to be number 1. He could have gone number 4 to us because we decided to keep Rex Grossman.
Why the fuck didn't we draft Warren Moon in the 8th round? I could do that shit all day long. Yeah. Why the fuck didn't we demand at the coin toss in 69? No, that's wrong because we want Terry Bradshaw. I could just keep going down the list with that shit. It is what it is. Poles is going to do his job. Right or wrong, we'll find out in time. That's the only thing I can say.
What the hell's going on now?
No, I wanted it on you. I wanted it on you, Walt.
I thought you were like, I'm going last. I want to be the center stage here.
No, I want Walt to give us his answers finally because we kept interrupting.
You're already done.
DJ put you on center stage, Walt.
Oh, that's fine. I honestly just wanted to wait so everyone can get their shit out, and then because like I tried before and people jumped in, but whatever. So I'm going to bring up Leonidas here. He's been hitting the copy and paste button hard with his comment. That Justin Fields was not a good college quarterback because he only threw 3,200 yards, whatever. I think passing yards are great, but let's look at this too. College. You know what? He won the Chicago Tribune Silver Football 2020 twice. He was named the Graham George Offensive Player of the Year 2019, 2020 twice. He was the Grease Breeze Quarterback of the Year 2019, 2020. It's also Big Ten Game Championship Most Valuable Player 2019. A second-team All-American, 2 times first All-Team Big Ten. Also, SEC Freshman of the Week. He holds 4 college bowl game records in Ohio State. That's most completions in 2019 against Clemson, most passing yards, 385 against Clemson in 2021, most bowl game touchdowns against Clemson in 2021. Also, most total yards of offense in a bowl game against Clemson, 427. Now, last time I heard, none of those names are C.J. Stroud. How is it irrelevant, Leonidas? You just said, oh, he's not good because he only threw 3,000 yards. I just gave you all these examples. He went to a national championship game. Did C.J. Stroud do that? No, he didn't. I'm not saying C.J. Stroud is a bad quarterback because he's not, but he didn't make it to the Mecca.
If I can like just, I know Leonidas is heavily for Bagent and against Justin Fields, and I try to play the both sides of every narrative to this, and so I just want to say like to what you're saying, Walt. I'm not gonna toot my own horn here because I'm not like a professional, and please don't think that I am anyone here, but historically throughout my life, the quarterbacks that I have personally had ranked the highest in that draft have historically, in my own personal opinion and my own personal judgment, way before this channel, this channel started because of Justin, have had there's been a lot that have historically panned out. Quarterbacks that I have, because I have since the 90s, I've always thought the Bears should always draft a quarterback, whether it's in if there's a quarterback sitting there in the 5th round, take him. If there's a quarterback sitting there in the 3rd round, take him. 4th round, 5th, whatever. Just take him and do what the fucking Packers do and develop him behind the guy that you're trying to develop. That didn't work. And I'll name you a few. And I'll go back to back in the 90s, I had a dry erase board, and I had a list. I was like so into the draft back then, a lot less than I am now. I don't have a dry erase. I actually bought one for the show when we did our show last year, but I never used it. But I put all I was like, I had all the quarterbacks on there in like the 90s, and I would like cross them off. Well, I wanted this guy. Let's just try to draft this. Well, Tom Brady's still sitting there. Oh, in the third round? Oh, nope. Well, he's still there in the fourth round. Nope, not. Oh, okay. Well, he's still there in the fourth round. Like, if I was going to draft a quarterback anywhere around this round, I would take Tom Brady. All of my friends call BS on that, but I'm telling you, I did it. It was on a dry erase board. And there's been other quarterbacks that have gone through that process with my own personal self. I've had Dak Prescott. If you'd have drafted him in the fourth round when he could have been. Granted, he might not be the best quarterback in the league for the Bears right now, but at least he would be one of those quarterbacks where we're like, well, we know, like, we have this guy, we can win with him. And I know what you're saying about we can win with Justin Fields. That does make sense. We do have that guy. There's been other guys too, like I never really was into like last year. CJ Stroud was my personal number one quarterback, not Bryce Young. 2 years ago, or I'll admit, Patrick Mahomes, I had him in the second round. I thought if you're going to draft a quarterback right there, it should be Deshaun Watson. Thank God they did not, because that would not have followed the Bears' narrative as far as like PR relations.
No. There's a lot more massage parlors in Chicago. He might have gotten away with it by spreading it a little more.
So I'm sorry, Shorty. I was wondering if Walt finished his point though.
Well, I thought he did. That's why.
No, I wasn't even anywhere close. But I mean,
I'm sorry.
Story of my life, right? No, it's all good.
God damn, Shorty.
Sleep Nice is like skewed stats.
I'm fucking up on my own show, Zim.
What is your definition of a non-skewed stat then? You want a college stat? No, I'm talking to Leonidas. He said when I brought up the information about the records he held and these awards he won, he's like, "Well, are those skewed stats? Like, what is not a skewed stat to you? That passing yards?
A non-skewed stat to him is a 100% success rate of pet turtles drinking toxic waste and gaining ninja powers, growing to an abnormally large size, and defeating pure evil in their city. That is a non-skewed stat. It is a 100% success rate. Every turtle that has drank toxic waste in that city became a ninja turtle, all 4 of them.
Yeah, so I mean, you want to talk passing yards? I told you passing yards. 427.
Can I at least have the samurai sword? Can I be that guy?
They happened. I can't make that up. It's right there. You don't need to believe me. You can go look it up. It's public proof. So I mean, if you don't fake rewards, get out of here, dude.
The rat gained powers too, so that's actually 5 for 5.
I mean, honestly, they're nice. I'm beginning to think you're a little slow, so I'm gonna have to change topics here because there's no getting through to you. You're not having an argument. You're just sitting there just spouting bullshit. Like, I will not listen to anything else besides my own opinion. I mean, I may be wrong. I may be wrong on my opinions.
We are debating. We're not arguing.
This isn't even debating, Dan. Debating is give and take. This is just I'm going to take, and I'm not going to listen to the other side.
It's Ghost of Judah narrative, Walt.
Yeah, that's why these idiots all flock around him, because he's like, oh, dude, Justin Fields is here. The man thinks the earth is flat and giants walk up a fucking terrace garden in Peru. I mean, you can't get any stupider than that. But we're not gonna go to the Ghost of Judah right now, because that's a whole nother ball of wax. They're not rewards; they're awards, not rewards.
This entire thing is just a straw man argument. We're building up a fake argument so that you can tear it down and distract from the actual argument at hand. Like, we're not talking about the actual fallacies at play here. We're falling into a different logical fallacy of this straw man that we're going to keep circling on, just like I'm circling in this analogy that I'm building.
I just think that with the when I listen to stats, and I'm not taking from what you're saying, well, please don't misunderstand me. Mm-hmm. If you look at stats only, Troy Aikman, he didn't have the greatest stats, but he was able to
should not even be in the Hall of Fame with the stats.
Can I finish?
Yeah,
I'm just saying. So with
my wife, like, stop interrupting me. I was just inputting. That's all.
Only thing I'm saying is, he won 3 Super Bowls and he didn't put up the greatest stats. I'm not saying Justin Fields is there yet, but I can see him getting there. So again, I say, Walt, forgive me. continue.
Okay. I'm gonna get off the college thing because he's obviously not gonna budge off his soapbox, and that's fine. He's allowed to do that. But I know, Shorty, you brought up multiple times throughout the show. You want to follow the Packers, a model of getting a quarterback in and then bringing someone else behind him and then having them take over, which is a fine argument, and it's definitely a good opinion. And
it's too late for that though now.
Well, no, it hasn't even begun.
No, exactly. And when will it?
Let's put it this way: they didn't draft Aaron Rodgers until Brett Favre was 35 years old. They didn't draft Jordan Love till Aaron Rodgers was 36. Justin is 24. Let's think about that. You have a 12-year difference between him and Rodgers before they drafted that quarterback. And let's be real. I know Brett Favre wasn't drafted in the first round, like you said. And he was drafted by Atlanta in the second. And then he came over. He was terrible his first 3 years. He had, 25 interceptions in year 3? And then he turned it around.
But by now, they knew what they had. So if Justin Fields, let's just say, sat on the bench until now, they would have known what they had in Justin Fields to unleash him to the rest of the league, because they developed him behind Aaron Rodgers. Like, and I'm not saying that Justin Fields is a failure because of that. I'm just saying, like, there's that system has never been, and it's not in place currently.
Are you 100% sure of that, Shorty? Because the Packers didn't really know what they had in Love.
Are you sure about that though?
He said, why didn't they just pick up his 5th-year option?
Well, they renegotiated. They renegotiated his 5th-year option to give him money based on incentives with which he passed. So now he's going to get re-signed.
Absolutely, but if they were 100% sure, they would have just taken the 5th-year option because they knew it was a steal.
I agree, but
they didn't. They didn't, because they didn't know.
Great point.
We could go in circles like Zim said all fucking night, dude. And I'm like an hour late for the shit I was supposed to do, because this was supposed to be a short show, and now it's like midnight.
Yeah, the only thing short about this show is me, man. Come on.
Zim, I'm 6'2". I've never met you, so to me, you're still tall.
I mean, I will say I make
like in person. I mean,
I make certain other podcasters look short, but
you look tall on your screen, buddy.
It's called a zoom feature on my camera.
I mean, guys, are we? Have you guys all? Is it like because I have to go to bed. I have to download this for audio stream. So any final? I
can sit here with you guys all night.
Oh, Zim, we love you then. Because any other night we'd be here until like 2:00 in the morning talking with you about this over and over again. So, but tonight and next week is a little hard for me. So let's go into just final thoughts. Are we all done? Have you guys all spoken your final piece?
No, but you guys got to go, so I'll defer.
We kept.
Thanks, Zim, for coming on the show, dude. I appreciate it. Fuck these guys.
We kept cutting off Walt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So Walt, finish what you were saying then.
All of us, every one of us is guilty.
Yes,
it's a bit of a long argument. You guys don't have time. It's fine. We've been going for 3 hours and 18 minutes. So I mean,
Walt, no, please, Walt, finish your statement.
I don't know. All I'm going to say is, like, I feel like we can build a team around this quarterback, and then we can win with what we have. And you're talking about wins matter. We can put a team together to give you wins. It's there. The foundation's been poured. You have DJ Moore, you have Cole Kmet, you have Justin Fields. Now let's go ahead and get him some things where other teams have. Like, I know somebody brought up Joe Burrow. Like, Joe Burrow sucked his first year. He was like 2-7-1, I think. And then they went out and got Jamar Chase, his buddy from yeah. Yep. And then they also have guys, like T. Higgins. So it's not just Jamar Chase. Like, we have a comparative wide receiver to Jamar Chase and DJ Moore, like the number one. I'm not saying the stats are the same, but it's there. But Jamar Chase can also go. Joe Burrow can also go to a guy like T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd. We don't have that option in the wide receiver room right now. We thought we did with Chase Claypool and Darnell Mooney, but that didn't happen. Claypool is now gone, and Darnell Mooney is 2 feet out the door at this point. I'm not going to say that he faked this last injury or anything, but because I'd be an asshole doing that. But it is a little suspicious that the last 2 weeks it's just like, oh, I have a concussion now, guys.
He sure didn't fight to get back from it. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, so there's that. So we have to give you. It's like Winston Churchill said, "Give us the tools, we'll finish the job." So that's where I'm at.
Okay.
I mean, like I said, if you want to go Caleb Williams at the end of the day, I'm not going to agree with it, but I'll sit there and I'll support the team because I'm a Bears fan.
Right.
So there's that. I mean, there's a lot of holes in Caleb Williams' games. Yes, he has a good highlight reel, and a lot of these college quarterbacks in their highlight reels, you can see them scramble around, and just sling it downfield. I mean, it's nothing new to me, so I'm not like overly impressed by it personally. I think it's fine, but you can also see times where he's running around with a single hand on the ball, and all you need is one guy to walk up, and that ball's gone. And he already had a fumbling problem, and I know everyone's breaking down Justin Fields, who had a fumbling problem too. So why are we just gonna take this in a sense almost a carbon copy of the same player, just having the same issues without actually fixing the problems that cause these issues?
Well said, man. I think that was very well said, Walt. Thanks for the parting thoughts. Anything else?
I'm not wasting time, or
No,
I'm not going off and with these other cocked ideas where it's like I have my quarterback. If I'm the GM, like I saw enough from Justin Fields where I know I can put together the best team for him and make it work. And if it doesn't, I have that safety valve, trading this number 1 overall pick to get something next year. Because more than likely, if they don't do anything this year or they regress and get worse, Matt Eberflus is gone. So you're going to have to bring in a new head coach anyways. And if you draft a quarterback now and then say Eberflus is gone, we're going to have the same argument where it's like, oh, well, he didn't draft this guy. This isn't his guy.
If Flus is fired this year, that's going to re-spark the entire thing all over again.
Well, I mean, let's be real. The man's on borrowed time at this moment. It's out now. Once we have this first overall pick, we could bring in all these weapons he didn't have. And if something goes wrong, I mean, if you make the playoffs or at least become like a 9-8 team, I think he'll be back. I'm saying like if you completely blow it up and go like 3-14 like we did the year before, then you're probably gone, dude. And everyone else around you is gone.
Yep.
So why not just wait? Take what you can get with the number 1 overall pick. Get something here. Get maybe a second pick this year or whatever. Pick up a 2025 pick. So you have 2 again on top of your 2 second-round picks you're going to have in 2025. So you have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. That's amazing. I could find a quarterback there. You could find another Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts is an interesting character. And definitely, yeah. So there's always going to be 4 or 5 quarterbacks in every draft they have to go with the number 1 through this every year. We saw it this year with Bo Nix, Daniels, May, Williams. Last year it was Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and next year it'll be 4 other guys.
Yep. Walt, I want to say publicly, I apologize for interrupting you many times. I know it's like I said, I understand the dynamics, but I just personally want to say sorry for interrupting you.
It's all good, man.
Same here, brother. It's as Bears fans, we have all been through. Well, apparently, Zim's like 10. So we have all been through the same revolving door of fucking shit on this team for decades and decades. I mean,
yeah, you're correct too on that opinion, Shorty, and that's why I've been saying to you for the past couple of weeks, and more so now with the way the offensive coordinator position's shaping up in terms of interviews and whatnot. Like we're moving past, we're trying to get out of that box.
I know we are, but when the last time that we went to the Super Bowl, our best player was a fucking punt returner and kick returner and a linebacker.
You saying special teams don't matter?
Well, they don't anymore because he changed the rules, which is why he should be in the Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame for Devin Hester. Hall of Fame for Devin Hester. Let's all preach it right now. Hall of Fame for Devin Hester.
That's a sidebar.
He deserves
we could have a whole other show about that.
Yeah, for sure. But we would have won the Super Bowl if Tommy Harris was healthy and so was Mike Brown, bar none.
Wait, Bearsky, did the Bears go to the Super Bowl in 2015?
If my aunt Michelle was my Uncle Mike,
or not 2015.
That's what it comes down to with that. If ands, or buts. And here we are again, all these years later, if ands, or buts. What ifs, what if nots. Opinions are opinions. Everyone is welcome to them. Everyone is welcome to them on this show. And they're not frowned upon. And you can all have your opinion, and so can I, and we don't hate each other for it. It's just a debate.
No.
As to
I
how
hate other people for their opinions, not you guys.
Oh, well, fuck you then, Zim. But it's not about we don't want to divide people. This is not a civil war, as some people wanted to call it. You know who you are.
Well,
shush. This is a debate amongst Bears fans because we have all, at some degree, one or another, have been through whatever levels of this perennial losing and perennial fuck ups and perennially making the wrong decisions. And so, as a senior Bears fan, and I know that you two and the below on the panel are more senior and just as much love and have your own opinions. That's that's what, and the younger side of you two on the upper panel and me here kind of in the middle of you guys. This is what makes being a Bears fan and having this show and having all you guys in chat so much fun because nobody is wrong. We don't make decisions on this team. There's nothing we can do to change the narrative of what the Bears will do. We can only have our own assholes, which are on our own opinions, and we can only have our own, thoughts and projections of where we should go with that, meaning our opinions. So, going on 3 hours and 3.5 hours, we're gonna wrap this show up. Zim, you almost want to make you a regular on this show because you have got some seriously awesome shit to say, and we love it and appreciate it here on BCP. And thank you for joining us tonight, man. A round of applause for Zim, man, because you honestly, you have excellent thoughts, opinions, and narratives, and ways and views to look at things from different perspectives, and then to kind of help all of us to put the narrative together to go, well, what do we all think is the best collective thing that this team should do, being in the position that they are of, basically no faith that they're going to get it correct. And Walt, you have made great points tonight. You're like our residential lawyer on the show. How you analytically break things down. I love it, man. You're right too. Everything that you said is correct, and it's not false. It's not to be hated for. It's to be, it's another element to think in of a perspective. And same thing with you, PJ, and you, Foster. You guys know that. So,
I don't know shit.
Iceberg Slim, what's up, Iceberg? Good to see you again, brother. Keds Canuck. Guys, let's get to chat because we got to wrap this up. And without you, chat, honestly, without all of you guys in chat, this would not be here. This would not be happening. We would not be having this fun debate that we're having tonight with the amount of fun that we had with you guys if it wasn't for you. So Leonidas, Eric Christensen, Mr. Mayhem, Keds hopping in. What's up, my brother? Cliff Victoria, man. You're the man, Cliff. DVD, Doug Van Dorn. Man, love you, brother. Leonidas, your opinions matter as well, man. And we appreciate you coming in here and telling us and being respectful like we all are here on this channel. And you're always welcome with that respect in regard. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
I just want to be clear. I love the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, fucking dude! I have
as
the
much
number one, bro.
As much as I gave you crap with that one, I wouldn't be able to if I didn't love it. So thank you for giving your input. You obviously made your voice heard tonight.
Dude, I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic book number one, bro.
Guys in the chat, we sincerely thank you for your comments, your commentary, your interaction, your respect and love for us. And it's reciprocated. Truly appreciate each and every one of you. Although we may not always agree, I still appreciate each and every one of you.
Destroyer. J2K, man. We love you, J2K. We cannot wait to have you back on for our draft show. Please be available for that because you were our draft analyst last year, and we want to have you back again to hang out with us for the draft. And by the way, Zim, you're welcome too. We want to have everyone that's been a part of BCP to come in and out of the draft while we're having the marathon all 3 days, and just come in and out. Zim, we'll give you a link. Pop in and be like, I fucking hated that pick. I'm out of here. Or whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? You want to hang out with us the whole show? You're welcome to do that too. Anyone else here that's been a part of the show, you are welcome to do that when the draft comes up as well. Let's get through the chat. DVD, Mark Kazak, Eric Christensen, T3P, Leonidas. Love and appreciate your respected opinions. Thanks for joining us, Cliff Victoria.
Destroyer 1320.
Bearski. Thanks for your video, Bearski. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Eric Christensen, Mo Bierman, Leonidas,
Raging Oracle.
CJ Williams, Sports Talk Network with Steve, Illinois Jones, T3P Podcast, Robbie Come Up.
Yes, James Ford, Hair Bear.
Love you, brother.
Slick Sophistication.
Yes, Iceberg Slim, Doug Van Dorn. Guys in the chat, truly appreciate you guys.
Jay Sanders, and J2K.
Yes, J2K, always a pleasure having you in the chat. Always.
Seriously, it's like you got to go for 3 hours up to find all the people that have been in here, but you guys all know that Laz. SZZ. Who dis? He says.
STC.
SZZ.
And STC.
I have no idea who that guy is.
Illinois Jones.
Yes.
PZ.
Illinois Jones.
Mo Bierman.
Mo.
So many chats to get through. You guys are what makes BCP a reality. And including all of you guys, Walt, PJ, Foster, and Zim, you guys are what makes BCP go. So thank all of you. I want to thank all of you guys, the hosts of this channel, you guys that make this shit happen when I'm not able to do it. And starting the show late or early tonight because I couldn't hop in until later. Thank you guys. I love and appreciate you guys for that. And I apologize for being late. It's been a crazy, weird, time in my life. So there's been nothing more exciting than being able to put all that crap aside tonight and talk with you guys. Some meaningless Bears conversation. And Zim,
She's sharp.
Your
King
C
Book-
Sharp was in here. Where the hell? Where was he?
King Buka World, Hair Bear.
Right there.
Yes.
I don't know. Does anybody remember Up? Just Up.
No, never saw that
Up
one.
the movie?
No, I just found this. I went all the way to the top and went backwards. I started from the top because I know you guys always get to the bottom. So Up.
Mark Kazak, Keds the Canuck,
Yes.
C
Kids.
Sharp. I don't see
Mark
where.
Kazak. Man, truly
Destroyer
appreciate you.
1320.
Yes.
We try to get to all of you guys.
The Plank.
Yes. Plank
Plankster.
was here. Yes.
Plankster. You know Plank Zim.
Yes.
I mean,
Hey guys,
we're
we really
part of the
appreciate
same.
you
This is
guys.
all the same crew, man. And chat hang without.
I mean, I'm in the chat probably once a month. Not as often as I should be, but I'm one of y'all.
Yeah, you are, whether you like it or not.
We appreciate you, though.
The
man.
vacuum, dude. You're sucked in.
Wait,
We appreciate
one
you
last
guys.
comment from Keds. Didn't Foster cover star in the movie UP? Up? That's fucking funny. Yeah, he's floating away right now. By the way, Foster, when you shaved your beard on screen, that's the same damn thing you ended up with. I thought you were gonna trim that up when you were done. And you just went to bed and forgot about it, or what?
I did trim it up, but I really don't give a crap how I look because I got so many more important things to do. I don't have anybody to impress.
Yeah, it's as long as it's not like a freshly shaved vagina on your face, I'm fine.
That's coming up, dude. Right after draft.
Oh God! Oh, no, please no. Just I'll pause
cycle,
that week.
Dude. It's a cycle. I go through a cycle. Except next
What is
year,
up, C Sharp?
Next year, you better grow a beard for the playoff run.
I will. I promise you. We'll talk on the phone more. So it's
Ryan dog.
Don't shave your fucking beard, shorty.
You know I'm joking around because it's what I do. So shut up, Foster. Good night, everybody. Stay safe.
Good night, everybody. Make sure that you tell your friends about this show. Like, subscribe, and set your notifications. We will see you next Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time. Until then, ready on a 1, 2, 3, Bears, and we will end this shit. Ready? 1, 2, 3, Bears.